I don't know. Is Bazinga copywritten?
I
Probably.
believe so, actually. Yes.
I was in nothing.
And every anyway, so it doesn't
It's
matter.
true. It's true.
Bazinga.
Hey, I'm not the only one. All right, hey internet, it's Todd. I am the DM, and we're gonna play some D&D today. This is SideQuest Live, and in particular, this is morally ambiguous. Half of the ambiguous. Actually, it's the larger half. It's like the 15/16ths at this point of our game.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing morally ambiguous for the most part. Not a lot of ambiguously moral, but you never know. Might circle back around. So I'm Todd. I'm going to be the DM, and we got a bunch of people here playing. We play, used to play in person, as many of you do, but I'm actually kind of enjoying parts about playing online. Definitely, there are some good things.
The maps.
Maps are kind of nice, absolutely. Don't have to... although I used to do digital maps and green screens, so if you go back to the old school days of my early stuff for Shadowrun, I had digital green screen maps, so that was fun. Speaking of maps, we're going to be using Roll20 and a couple of other things today. I'll try to give credit. Definitely lots of dynamic dungeons and a couple of other things, so as I remember them, I'll bring them out. And that reminds me, we should get some tunes going here, so boom.
Well, speaking of that, can I ask? I was just watching the most recent one, and the visual effects, the animated fire and stuff.
Yeah.
Where's that from?
That is something called Psycho. I'll have to look it up. It's in the credits. Psychodope, I think it was, and I saw it. Oh, my cameras just did a funny wonky thing.
Yeah, Bela left.
Okay, well, we'll sort that out in a minute. But yeah, we can do.
I'm sure she'll be back and all this.
Certain effects, absolutely. So it allows me to do certain things, like animated effects for the variety of the characters, and yeah, it was on sale because so much is trying to do that right now. So I picked some up. So I was happy about that. Also, hey, if I'm not buying, new games or coffees and meals at the local game store that we play at, then I guess I have a little bit of extra in the budget for, silly effects. Oh, I gotta let somebody in 1 sec. I gotta turn that off. Just let people join right back in until they figure out our chat thing, and then the internet hacks us. All right. Now probably all the... Well, there's only just you and me on the cameras tonight anyway, Darcy, so I think that's all good. Speaking of giving credit where credit is due, the music we use is Creative Commons, and I find it on lots of different sites. You can check it in the feed at the end of the credits. I always give full credit, and you can also check it in the top right of our screen. I try to have that going up there so people can always know, hey, what's playing? Oh, that, cool. I'll go look and use that for my games. So that's all that. I guess we'll go around the table. Any other questions before we dive in?
What the hell happened last time?
Great question.
Yeah.
Also, I got us. It's funny, we were talking about your image there, Benkuhm, Trent, but I actually kind of like that it's all chewed up. Speaking of chewed up, the party got chewed up last time. There was a very large ambush.
Yeah, but that's no one got hit except for one guy.
Benkuhm got a little bit, and Kragg got it heavy.
Yeah.
Kragg was the least interested in going slow. Everyone else saw someone waiting at a river pass and kind of just washing her clothes in this river.
I don't know we're wanted.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So you guys, everyone else hung back and were like, oh, it's a person in the wilderness. And Craig's like,
I'm like, they're washing their clothes. That's like a thing people do. Come on.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I guess that'd be people might want to note that for a conversation with Kragg later. So Kragg goes marching up through. Turns out it's a cult fanatic for the Eye of Pelor, and she is the bait, and everyone else is hiding behind that giant rock that you can see on the map just north of the river there. And
even Nat 20 persuading her to just let us by, and you're just like, yeah, they attack you anyway.
well, they were waiting, and in fact, that might be something you might want to investigate a little bit. They were definitely lying in wait for you. Somehow,
well, it makes sense because as the fight progressed, the Cambion, the second one we found,
he was there.
He was there.
He was roughed up.
Came back here. It's why he knew who all of us were. I guess including. No, he never saw Kragg actually. Yeah. So I don't know.
So just flashing back a little bit to the night before the ambush. This was the night after the massive storm, and you'd met the crazy old man, the old hermit, and you were camping and just kind of having a quiet night after the big battle with the ogre zombies, and a lot of lore got dumped, and there was an imp that came flying up and talked to Darmita and Fenris, and the imp used to be in the employ of the succubus. And now he hunted you down and said, look, in the middle of that massive storm, she had come under attack. Massive attack from the knights from the Eye of Pelor. And it was a lot of his men, and then eventually, I'm going to assume, Gord, that you brought them up to speed on this.
I did, yes.
In the morning.
I did tell them. Yeah.
So the imp revealed that the succubus had been either captured or killed. He felt his tether to her, his contract with her.
You didn't tell us there was an imp, though, right? Just the stuff the imp told you?
I told... so, Darmita knows about the imp. I know about the imp. Everyone knows about the imp except for Kragg. So Kragg doesn't know about the story.
Yeah. And Benkuhm, you would have seen Johannes talking with either an imp or a raven. You can... and anyway, unbeknownst to most of you, except for Fenris and Johannes, the imp offered to spend some time with you guys. And that offer ended up going over to Johannes more than Fenris. And I'm waiting on Levi's response for that. However, come on, as if Levi is not going to accept that. Like, I don't want to speak for his character or anything, but I'd be really surprised if he didn't. But we'll leave it up to him. So we'll get a little bit of feedback on that. So in the morning, you guys knew that the succubus had been under attack, and you guys kept marching back towards the city, or to the Nossamlet, which is official now. I believe it was Gemini Twin, one of our viewers, made the suggestion that is the actual name, Nossamlet. And for those who are watching, remember, for live games, we do take chat suggestions and we do interact. So if you have suggestions, you can spend a plot point, which is something I stole from Shadowrun Anarchy, and you can affect the game. You can send messages, you can make a little twist in the story or a big twist in the story. Just no insta-deaths. So then you guys were walking back to town with the bevy of people that you've rescued, including the old hermit who decided to come along with Darmita having a strong bond with him. And then you got ambushed, all tough stank. Yeah. Ooh, I see Darmita's camera's ready. So did I miss anything else?
We had a big throwdown.
We
killed a lot of them.
All of them?
Don't forget all of the creatures that were conjured from both sides.
Yeah. You all saw Kragg draw a circle and then a whole bunch of abyssal chickens, I think it was.
I don't remember that. You're probably making that up.
Came into existence and just attacking mostly the horses. Speaking of horses, a large wagon, black lacquered wagon, came riding through, and and all of a sudden slammed into these creatures as the you mentioned the Cambion, who had once been your prisoner, actually must have hot-footed it here. He revealed himself, took off his cloak, and just literally said something, villainish.
Totally worth it.
And tore himself open and created one of those gates. And in popped Bone Devil and a bunch of other devils and lemurs and all kinds of nasty that you guys had to throw down against on top of the regular soldiers that you guys were mopping up. So it was a big throwdown. Everybody is covered in, especially Archibald, he's covered head to toe in lemur guts. He literally eviscerated one with his dagger from head to anus, basically.
Other head.
And then, head to lower head. And then he got covered in ichor, just absolutely drenched. Benkuhm was mixing it up and had a nice little competition going with Johannes to see if he... Well, actually, Benkuhm, again, did not actually witness anything that Johannes managed to pull off, which is in keeping with character. And now everyone is just taking a breath and just wrecked. Standing by the wagon, you've hitched up your spare horses to the wagon because a couple of the horses died. It turned out Archibald had been tracking, had gotten wind from the Brigand Sarah, who is your ally and her troop. He got wind of where you guys were and was starting to make his way up that way. When he saw the ambush being set, he kept at a safe distance and then saw it spring, and then he... half inebriated in his wagon, jumped into action. And he came in the last half hour of the game. It was kind of fun. Nice to see Jay. So,
wow.
I think now everyone's up to speed. So, with that, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to make a coffee, make sure everybody's all sorted. And actually, if you guys want to, I'm just going to step away. If you want to keep talking and kind of bring each other up to speed, you guys can do that. I need a coffee, so I'll be back.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, so Archibald flew in on a dragon?
No, on his wagon.
Oh.
On the wagon that he had confiscated.
Oh.
It's really more of a carriage. It's quite fancy. It does. This picture we have does not do it justice.
Yeah, it's a carriage.
The carriage. I heard like a black dragon.
Yeah.
There also, what wasn't mentioned in the recap, one of the spine devils tried to make off with me and revealed that its master, the Eye, is specifically trying to have some kind of designs with me and is hunting me actively.
Oh, good.
Nice.
And that's the Eye of Pelor leader? He's just called the Eye?
Yes, the Eye, a freaking planetar.
Oh, okay. Benkuhm's not afraid, but Trent is.
A fallen planetar. Yeah.
That's fair. That's really fair. Yeah. I can take anything.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me.
Yeah,
I've been doing NPC monologues, so for those listening to the stream or watching the stream, I do upload them. So we've had a few of those, so that's where some of these lore drops came from. So the Imp has one now, I haven't released. And the old man revealed this similar pieces of the puzzle, as much as his memory allows. All right. Oh, I was going to fix Darmita's camera and then we'll get on. So just a quick reminder, anyone who's watching us in chat, you can contribute, including helping us to name our episode. So I'm just going to bop over to that for a second. So we'll keep chatting, but internet, you're welcome to help name our episode. Oh, and that reminds me, you got to give a name for Darmita's mom.
Yeah.
Hashtag name our stuff, or in chat, name that mom, all right? Like
Nostriel. It's Nostriel.
It might be. She is a fallen deva. So thus the Aasimar of the fallen Aasimar of Bela's character.
Yeah, we have a canonical what's the deal with our Aasimar here, and it's half and half.
She hooked up with the Brigand man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to see if I can fix Darmita's camera since, we're talking about her character, we should probably... Oh, hey, that was easy. And I don't know that Archie's going to make it today, so I'm just going to drag him off to one side.
Is the audio working? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it now. What we don't know about Darmita's dad, we know he's a brigand, but we don't know if he's a brigand that's associated with Sarah.
That's true. That's true.
So
we also know he's dead.
Yeah.
Well, they.
Sorry.
Yeah. My parents are dead.
She's an orphan.
Yeah.
But she has Benkuhm, and really.
Do we know that her mom's dead?
No, we don't.
Yeah, that's true. You guys don't. She does. That I sprang that on her. The old man sprang it on her, technically.
I did tell. One of you knows.
Well, it's.
I just couldn't remember if we knew or not.
You implied it to me, but you didn't straight up said it to me.
Well, you said they had a lot in common.
Yeah.
She's so cryptic.
Oh, every D&D character is. That's the worst part about D&D characters is like, I have this rich 18-page story background, and none of you will know any of it. Because I would keep it to myself.
Well, I mean, I could just tell you all, but that's not role-playing. That's just me being like, now I'd like you to listen to me read a book, which is fine. That's a totally legitimate Twitch stream.
Yeah.
That's not this.
I've been doing... That's where the NPC monologues come in. That's what those are.
Right, because you need an excuse to say this crap, because your players aren't going to let you talk about it. It's like that old joke about, like, you get to the... big bad boss at the end, and they start monologuing, and you try and get an attack in, so you get a surprise round.
Exactly. And we're like, but you don't know why I opened the portals. And you're like, I don't care.
I need a surprise round. It's important.
Stab. Hey guys, I'll tell you what. If you let me have a nice big bad guy monologue, then I'll give you a free surprise round. How's that?
We'll hold you to it.
I wonder how that would make sense.
We'll figure it out. Actually, I've already got a plan. All right, so you guys are literally panting. The sound of the river just trickling by. You're covered in ichor. A few minutes have passed, and a little bit of cleaning and healing has gone on, and getting the horses and getting the old hermit.
I think we're all in the carriage, as it were.
Yeah, in or near the carriage. Somebody was going to ride the horse. I think that was going to be Bela. Right?
Just Toby and Kara. They kind of need that horse, don't they?
I put the old man on it.
Oh, but there's a wagon too. So if you guys want, you can ride in the wagon.
We hooked one of us up to the wagon.
Yeah, there's still 2 horses that are
that's
free.
true. Yep.
I'm actually still staring down at the ashen remains of the
fallen
woman.
Yep, the woman who you recognized from your days of hiding from the Eye of Pelor, and they had raided a farm, and she had led them and slaughtered at least some of the farmers. Not a nice lady, and you recognized her, which ended up probably saving your bacon, to be honest, because you managed to be like, wait a minute, and that meant they didn't all get a turn on you, but a surprise round on you in the ambush. So,
I mean, that's not true, but. Well, we can say it that way.
Well, some of them got a couple of shots off, but they rolled high on initiative. It would have been a full pass of them just beating on you guys. Probably.
That would have
Probably.
The notable thing for Kragg in this moment is that during the fight, one of the summoned devils was a bone devil, which... for the audience, and I don't know if it would be, it's not necessarily clear. There's no. This is really the first time we see it as far as the actually in game. The lance, the packed weapon that he summoned in the previous session, was a scaled down version of a bone devil's pike or polearm or lance.
Yeah.
And the bone devil did not have one. And it actually seemed to have a specific grudge against Kragg because Kragg having it took it away from him. or something. That was what was implied. Now, Kragg didn't get any of this because he doesn't actually speak Infernal.
But it was grunting and growling, and it actually, after it dropped you, because Kragg did get dropped at one point, although in retrospect, you probably should have popped up with 1 hit point because half orc.
I could have. It does say you may.
Oh, okay, there you go. You
so were now just I still have it. If we don't take a long rest, I still have it.
Nice. All right, do that because I also kind of picture that as being legit because I see you, like your dead brother spirit looking on. And you're like, I'm dying and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then this thing was like it picked up your lance that didn't actually.
So I had never even summoned it. I just died without ever summoning it, and then it like sucked it out of my spirit or something.
And it pulled it and it held it, and then someone dropped it. I forget. I didn't listen to it again.
Probably Fenris.
Probably Fenris. I think Fenris got or Darmita. She got a lot of describe this.
Darmita actually got the kill blow on it.
Nice.
I think I got the biggest kill count this time though on this one.
Fireballs, right?
Yeah, you know.
Like
those fireballs mopped up a lot of those little minions. They're not actually minions.
Woke up after being unconscious, and this was like the first time he saw the lance with his like clear eyes.
Yeah, he's been raging.
He's only ever summoned it while raging before, and I don't think he still knows there's any sort of connection there. It's just this is a creature that we like killed, and I'm taking this.
Yeah.
He's like decided it's his now, as like a fallen weapon, even though obviously it wasn't wielding that lance. It was made of bones. I don't know. There's a lance here now. So yeah.
So
the point is he's now like carrying this lance. He doesn't even like think to like shunt it away, right? Like he was previously.
Okay, cool. So you're just literally carrying this.
So now, like
12
his
foot
brother's
long.
more on like one shoulder now at this point because he needs to have the lance in the other hand.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to start us off by saying if anybody cares to, you can do a perception check.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to perceive things.
Actually, not Kragg. This is about
not me, though.
About Kragg.
I'll make an insight check on myself.
I think that's the lowest I've ever seen Darmita roll on perception. All right, all of y'all are getting less
19.
than 10. Okay, Gord is the only one who tends to notice.
Fenris.
Fenris. Johannes doesn't notice anything, and Archie does see something as well. But Archie's got his own stuff going on as he's standing by the wagon. He turned around. His own rapier broke in the battle, and he grabs this long sword that he got out of the magistrate's house. And it's still in the hilt. It looks very fancy. And he goes in and he grabs it, and he didn't even use it. He just held it at the very end and armed himself in case. And then Fenris mopped up, and Darmita mopped up, so he didn't end up even drawing the blade. But he's holding this and looking at it, so he's a little busy.
Do you have a plan for that, or can I spend a plot point on it?
I actually do have a plan, but I'd be curious to hear your plot point.
Well, we know now that the magistrate's you want me to do this?
No, it's okay. I do have a plan,
Cambion,
but that's cool. We can mix it up. Nothing's set in stone.
Assuming it is a Cambion's blade. Now, it doesn't make perfect sense because he wouldn't need it, but maybe some of that Cambion's residual energy allows them to... Wait, I'm messing up. I'm thinking about how Cambions can add their charisma to their defense. They can add it to their attack. Never mind. I was going to say they could add his charisma to his attack, and that would be awesome.
That would be awesome for Archie.
It doesn't actually follow the narrative that I was thinking.
Actually, Jay's not here, but I guess I'll reveal this. You see Archie, when he goes to fight, when he turns around, he's covered in ichor from the lemur. The last bone devil, just as it crumbles, he pulls on the sheath and separates the sword out, and the sword comes sliding out for about maybe 5 inches, and then there is no blade. It ends after about 5 inches after the hilt, and he's just like, what the?
Nice.
And it's just got a little basket hilt on it, but it is a long sword, but he's just like holding it and looking at it, and he's like, oh. So he hasn't actually put it away yet, but you see it looks not like a broken blade necessarily, but it does end as if the blade was broken. So that's a little bit of canon there. Meanwhile, what does everyone want to do? The battle is done. The small folk are being herded onto the wagon.
What did I notice?
Oh, right. With a 19, you see Kragg walk up, his body of his brother over his shoulder, and this large lance. Now, it looks almost like it looks forged of a black metal. It's very long, and it's got these cracks as though it's been shattered and reforged, and each of the cracks reveals a red glow from within. It does occasionally in battle like flare up, and I'm by all means, Darcy, describe it how you want, but when it's kind of not active, it still has a visible like etching of fiery glow along. Just
I'm into it. That's really cool. Because there's no like canon description of a
describe it
devil's lance, as far as I know.
I just figured it'd be kind of fiery, so he comes up walking that
literal bone, but I like that too.
So Archie nods and sees and goes, "Nice, take what we can." And Archibald starts rifling through the dead bodies and the
mere guts.
Yeah, the mere guts.
Maybe there's a coin in here.
He's literally using the broken or the little sword and nub to like sift through the more gross things as a couple of teeth and mouths, or like a couple of eyes are rolling around looking at him while he's sifting through the guts, and and one of these mouths are like even at
I will
death.
I will take note of, because I likely saw the Bone Devil take the lance, since I was concentrating on it with confusion.
Absolutely.
And saw what happened with Kragg. So I take note of that, but kind of shaking myself off from my reverie of looking down on the remains of the woman. I hear Archibald's words about looting things, and I'll take a look at the caster.
Absolutely.
And
actually,
see if there's anything there.
You actually go to look at the caster, and before you drag your eyes away from the woman, you look down and you see she's got a little side pack, a little pouch, like a little bag on her that she had slung over one shoulder. And you start to look away, and then you see something sticking out of it, and then you bend down and start rifling through. You've seen these before. I don't know if anyone in the party even has one. You have Arcana, yeah? So Gord, go ahead.
I do.
Go ahead and roll Arcana.
Can I help him with that?
Actually, I'll let everybody do an investigation check, and if you want to help with that, as you start to loot. But yeah, you can help him as you walk up to him. The two of you being the main kind of people to drop stuff at the end.
I'll roll that again.
This does remind me that at the end of the last session, I said I wanted to take the full plate from the one like knight type guy we found.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then later I'll try and break it down into half plate.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. This
I
reminds
rolled
me.
a 12 in Arcana.
A 12. All right, so it is magical, and you figure this out because there's a the top of something sticking out, and it looks like a bag, just like a little shoulder bag, and then a little wooden post is sticking out of it, and you grab it and you pull, and it's a whole like 10-foot long pole for a tent, and it comes out of this tiny little bag.
I'll take it with me.
It is a bag of holding.
Oh,
and it's got some stuff in it. So I'm gonna guess you find a clear area and start to loot.
Yeah.
And everyone else sees you finally do this as they're cleaning themselves up, and starts to dig in and loot too. So we get to start today with a loot drop.
All right.
Yay.
Yeah, let's put on the happy music. Come on. What were you saying there? I heard. I think it was Trent.
I'm just in for all the free rewards of unearned fruits of labor.
I mean, you did use your chain like you requested. So
oh yeah, by the way,
you're gonna have to deal with that fallout.
You used your chain a lot and used quite a few of those. So yeah, you're gonna have some nightmares tonight. Anyway, well, actually, speaking of which, Benkuhm, can you roll three successive wisdom saves for me, please? And
okay.
let me DC, I think it was 13.
You only spent one charge, right?
It was a DC 10 because it was like a con save.
Was it only one charge? Okay, just two then.
remember because you asked us what he should do, and
yeah,
and
I told you to,
yeah.
One.
Grapple him up. 15 and 17. Oh, dude. You pass. You pass both of them. You're fine. It's a custom magic item for anybody watching, and if he fails too many wisdom saves, spending charges on it, bad things happen.
The current ongoings of Benkuhm's mind is just like a hollow kind of block sound, and then sometimes a bird flies by and there's a rainbow and some clouds.
Nice.
But he in faces or in
All right, so you get a bag of holding. In it, there are several cleric spell scrolls as you dump them out on the garden. So you can mark that down as 3 cleric spells, scrolls.
These comic books must be yours.
Yeah. There's on one of the, you actually find some horseshoes.
Those are probably just horseshoes. Everyone needs spare horseshoes.
They seem runic on them for sure. You know what? You got. Well, let me ask you: are you guys going to spend a short rest, or are you guys going to GTFO?
I mean, we're going to be in a carriage.
Yeah.
Whoever's not driving the carriage.
Oh,
be able to short rest. Right?
Yeah, that's a good call. So you guys can spend a few minutes looting in the back of this really quite nice long carriage. It's not exactly what is on the map there. That's what I found for Roll20. All right. Yeah,
someone needs to drive. Then I shouldn't get the short rest.
Also, I can do rope trick.
Nice.
Which gives us a safe long rest, but we bring the...
Or short, yeah.
Short rest, but we can't bring the horses or the cart up.
No, that's true. But you guys, and there's also a pile of bodies. The devil bodies all kind of disappear to ichor and ash and just burnt residue, like almost like tar, where they fell. But any of the humans or the knights or the clerics or the mages that attacked you, or the knight that attacked you, their bodies are there still. In fact, some of them are starting to wash downstream because some of them fell in the water. So
we probably should talk about that.
Yeah.
What is their... They are dead. Their spirits are gone.
It seems people are looking for you.
For me?
Yeah, all of you, I suppose.
Kragg, these Eye of Pelor, they are hunting us. And with what I saw of your magic, they will hunt you too.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
You wield magic, and there's an affinity with these devils. I don't know the full extent of it, but that lance that you wield, it's magical.
Do you recommend I don't take this?
I recommend that you be wary around the Eye of Pelor.
Look, no one in Northamlet is a friend of the Eye. We follow old traditions. You know this, right?
I do.
Johannes pipes up
but
and says,
either way,
some do, some don't.
Regardless, they are local law. We may want to deal with these bodies somehow so no one comes.
All right, I will start working on them. And I start piling the bodies together.
Sure.
Or possibly on a raft if we have one.
Was there anything else in the bag of holding?
Oh yeah, you start dumping it, and you're also searching the various bodies. You end up finding a bunch of stuff, which I'm busy trying to type into chat as you guys are doing that. So you guys can keep chatting while you guys are pulling stuff up. Horseshoes, some potions, some scrolls. There's actually one crossbow bolt that had just missed Archibald, or somebody on the wagon, and it had embedded itself in the side of the wagon. And as you guys, Darmita, you recognize a good arrow or bolt when you see one, and it is gorgeous. It's elven make, and it practically, like, as you walk past it, you're a ranger, so you know good arrows when you see them, and this one's like one of the best things you've ever seen. It is a crossbow bolt, but you pull it out of the wood and take a look at it, and it has definitely got enchanting etching all along the sides.
I'll just yoink.
You find a couple of potions. You've seen potions of healing before, so you get 2 of those. You get, let's say Benkuhm, you're piling bodies.
Yep.
Fenris, you find, as you're pulling through, there's this weird ointment, and you, in a jar, and you pop it open and you give it a sniff, and it definitely has, I don't even know how to say it. Krugmastus. It's a healing type potion, ointment, very potent actually. The fallen cleric, the woman that Fenris had some issues with, she seems to be wearing some kind of ring.
Okay.
So if you want
to take a look at it.
Well, I'm assuming because you were investigating her, you would have seen it before the rest of us.
Absolutely. All right, so I've typed those in to Roll20, along with quite a bit of coin. Amongst the various bodies, they were all pretty well paid, and most of them were carrying their coin on them. And then Archibald has a new blade as well. I'm just going to call it the broken, or the half blade, until.
So if we're seeing Fenris pulling this stuff out of this bag of holding, what do the boots look like?
You
didn't mention those ones.
No. You guys, those were on a body. In fact, they were on one of the.
I thought it was bag of holding : this was in it.
No. This is kind of everything that you guys gather from looting. So you see one of the crossbowmen that had been up on the big rock had these boots that were they're very fancy leather boots, but they've got these etchings of wings on both heels, and they're just such a nice pair of boots. They kind of stand out with the rest of the gear, and that is, if you spend the time to actually take a look at them, it is a pair of winged boots.
Yeah, I'll look at those.
So you guys can go ahead and divide up what you want from the spoils there.
The only thing that Benkuhm wants is to be able to hold the bag of holding. That's all. You guys can have the rest.
You should probably take the shield or something.
I don't know that he uses a shield.
Well, it's not a shield. It's a ring, right? Oh, one shield.
There's a shield plus one.
My mind is perfectly sound. Nothing could invigorate this more.
It's true.
He's got a headband on. He looks ready to work out.
That's also true.
I have finally attuned to the Hat of Disguise.
Yes.
Yeah. I turn into one of the devils we just fought.
Whoa. Archie and Johannes immediately turn around and draw weapons. Archie's holding a broken sword and a dagger.
I turn back, and this time I'm wearing like a top hat and a monocle. And I turn back and I say, "Got you, old fellers."
But okay, how do you guys want to divide up things?
I don't care. I just assume that Fenris is carrying everything. Now he has a bag of holding, so I can just it's even easier to assume that. It's great.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Who wants to carry the bag of holding?
I think Benkuhm, you wanted to carry the bag of holding.
Yeah, I just want to have it on my person, and really, that's it.
He's just naked with a loincloth and a nice fancy shoulder bag.
To technically be like the carrier, because I have the strength to do it. I still want to.
That's true.
Okay.
It's just a bit.
I'm interested in those boots.
I'm interested in the ring of mind shielding and the Cleotis ointment, whatever that is.
Something like that. I rolled for it. I was like, what is this? It's pretty nice healing type stuff.
Yeah.
The old man is sifting through, and the old hermit looks up at. He's very distracted. He's standing at the side of the river. Unless you steer him into the wagon, he's like just standing at the side of the river, bends down, picks up a stone, looks at it as though it's a fine diamond, and you guys are just like, oh, this will be good. And he looks among the bodies to find a new pouch to start a new rock collection, and then he casts a kind of an annoyed look over at Johannes.
Okay.
Do I notice the look that he gives Johannes?
With your passive perception, absolutely.
Okay. I'll go over to Johannes quietly and just be like, listen. It doesn't seem like the rocks that you took were of very much value, but they seem to be sentimental to him. He's a bit crazy. What do you say? Can we just give them back?
They're my rocks.
I understand that, and we'll find you more rocks. They're just rocks.
Yes, but they mean something to the old crazy man, so they mean something to me. Go ahead and roll persuasion check. Oh.
Luck.
You're up against the Bard of Swords on a persuasion check.
Yeah, and that's the raw 19 on the die. I don't even know what his modifier is, but I know it's good.
Yeah. So Johannes launches into this long explanation of his logic as to why he stole the old man's prized rock collection. And he's like, but you see, it's for his own good. You see, he's so obsessed about this that it's distracting him to keep them away from him. That distraction could actually feed into drawing him out and getting more information from him. Along the way, he convinces you to reveal a piece of information as to why you care so much. So, Darmita, what do you reveal to Johannes?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Knowing that he kicked your ass on persuasion.
Yeah. Oh.
Like he accidentally gets you to reveal something as to why you care so much. It just one piece of information. Doesn't have to be key, but he presses you to be like, and why do you care? He doesn't put it that way, of course. He's much more slick than I am. Like he's like, we all care for broken old animals, but in particular, what does it mean to you? Like, so it gets the old man riled up.
I feel somehow connected. I don't know.
Huh.
He just seems like somebody who's in need of my protecting. And then I punch him.
That's fair. All right. So we'll see. We'll see what he gets from that next game. So I'm going to assume you've made your pile of bodies. You have managed to collect them all, thanks to the little pile of rocks at the bottom of the stream. None of them actually washed downstream yet, which is towards town, by the way. So you managed to gather them up. Good call, Benkuhm. And you managed to build your pile. Are you guys going to do anything with them after you strip and loot? And yes, Kragg, you can have half plate based on assembling bits of chain and gambesons and from the knight himself.
So I can just take it now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it'll at the end of the short rest, I would. Well, you're a tanner. You're used to working with armors. at least of some types. So I would allow a check.
I figured
with proficiency actually, but I'll allow it in a short rest.
Though. Let's talk about that. Yeah. We'll resolve that later. I don't think it'll be an issue right now.
Sure.
This pile of bodies, I assume, is a lot and not something that is easily.
Probably something like 10 or 12 bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the rest of the people in your wagon, it would be a hard fit.
We could dig. Is this the main road?
It's not a main road. It's one of 3 ways up north from here, but not that many people travel this way.
Let's just throw them deeper into the bush.
All right.
That's a cool solution. And only people who will be looking for them will find them. And well, sorry, Fenris. They seem to find you everywhere they go.
Yeah. Sorry, just a quick point of order for I do kind of want to divvy up the gold. So there's 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So each of us get 125.
Oh, my bad. I did the math wrong.
Yeah, each of us get 125 gold. I mean, I'll hold on to the items except for the bag of holding and the pair of wing boots and the shield. Does anyone want the shield +1? I'll hold on to the ointment, the mind shielding, and the horseshoes. Then the 2 potions of healing. If anyone does, anyone want the 2 potions of healing? Because I've got 1 and an ointment.
Probably good. Yeah.
I might take 1 potion.
Yeah. So Darmita, you get a potion. Benkuhm, you get a potion. I'll keep the ointment and the ring of mind shielding. Darmita, you wanted the pair of wing boots. Kragg, do you want the shield +1?
I mean, I don't really plan on using it as like a mechanical choice.
Yeah,
if Fenris is like, here, take this, I'm like, all right.
A side note, if Benkuhm wanted to wield it, he could still use his chain and a shield.
Oh yeah, Benkuhm, you should hold the shield.
But he does have a maul.
Yeah, just because I could switch between.
You could switch.
Because it would give me a crazy AC difference.
Yeah, it's +3 to your AC.
Yeah, so everyone add 125 to there.
I think a lance is 2-handed, so I don't think
Lances
Kragg.
are 2-handed unless you're mounted. So if I did start becoming a mounted combatant, I could do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hold it temporarily until you become a mounted combatant.
Well, I mean, I could just get on a horse. But I don't think I'm.
Oh, I thought you had like the what's it called, the like horse fighting feat or something like that.
No, I don't plan on taking that. But even without it, still just getting on a horse. It's pretty good. But I don't know.
I'm just getting flashes of the old. I'm on a horse.
Like an adventurer, so like this is not like he's just going back to town.
My only point of order is that it would be 133 gold pieces for everybody.
It's a good old-fashioned math off. Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, you are right. You are right.
For gold.
You are correct. Cool. And then 20, and yeah, that's all right. I've written things down.
Let's go.
Well, actually,
Johannes,
I'm going to turn
go ahead.
to the others, to you guys, and say, listen, they're hunting us, specifically hunting me. I'm not sure if it's wise for all of us to come back to the hamlet. There might be another trap there. There could be more of them. I think we need to think about where we go next, because we could easily fall into another trap.
Quite frankly, I want to get to, I want to get the old man to Sarah.
I agree with you.
Safe for him to be is with her.
I think what's best is, I know that's that the villagers aren't that far from town, and Kragg, I know that you said you want to finish some business with your dead brother.
Yes.
I think those of us who are being hunted, they know who we are. We need to get out. We need to avoid this hamlet and find Sarah.
But what about our money? They promised us good pay for those villagers.
And it was a promise, said Johannes, as well.
No, that was
I know
that was definitely Archibald.
Oh yes, that was Archibald, and Johannes was like, and we did promise.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Johannes, I think you have the ability to disguise yourself.
So do I.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Do you Benkuhm?
Yeah.
Pardon me, what were we talking about? I was thinking about that one time I smashed a boat into that stone giant's face. I totally just phased out of our conversation.
It's okay. What we're talking about is we think that Fenris and I and the old man need to get to Sarah's camp as soon as possible.
Sure, but do we have to take the old man?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. I will ride in the front with Archibald.
All right, so Archibald hops up on the wagon. He's basically bribed Johannes to clean him up with prestidigitation for a portion of his gold. He's like, can you do something for this? And so Johannes is like, fine, just starts cleaning him off 1 foot at a time as the lemur guts just slosh to the ground. And he's splashing himself in the water as well. You guys notice that he, like when he's washing himself in the river, he might dress in somewhat tattered fancy clothes, but he's got the body of a pit fighter, complete with scars and tattoos. He just looks like this wiry, like, it's such a contrast. And then he puts his powdered wig back on. That's better. And then gets back up on the wagon. Almost, actually, he probably looks a little better for wear than when you first saw him ride in.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are ready to go where you want. So you're going to try to track down Sarah?
To disguise Benkuhm into, like, the fanciest man he can imagine, which is probably not that fancy. It probably tops, like, Archibald coming in on the carriage.
Nice.
Well, is it just you that looks fancy, or is it a different person?
I guess I would match Archibald, but I think he's a fancy fellow.
So you can appear to be different human or something, like a tall human, if you want to. You can lose a foot of your height. I think you're probably coming in at about 8 feet or almost. So
yeah, a foot human.
You're going to be... Sorry, your mic cut out there.
But human.
A 7-foot human. Okay, cool. So yeah, you're just a tall, lanky beast of a human man dressed in a fancy outfit. You change the... Archibald's like, those are my colors. And so you change the color of it, but then you look pretty similar.
Yeah. So
Johannes is going to actually get dressed change his outfit and use his disguise kit.
Can I just double check? So the plan is Fenris and I are going to take 1 horse because we had 2 living horses.
Yeah. Well, you actually have 3 in all. There was one of them that survived on the wagon. So you have 3 horses.
We had 4 total. I thought we had 3 plus the one
you're right.
from the 2.
You're right. So you actually have you can top up the wagon with 2 and still have 2 left over.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought we had 4 horses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are Fenris and I gonna take the old man and head off, and this group is gonna go to town, drop off the small people, and then we'll reconnect after?
Archibald's like, I did just leave her. Why? I know exactly where they were. And Johannes is like, and I have some business I would like to take up with them. How about you lot head back to town? This is Johannes speaking. How about you lot head back to town, and we'll escort the old man over to Sarah.
I'm going to see Sarah now.
So what I think is this. There's 2 free horses. Johannes, Kragg, and the couple can go back to town. Johannes can disguise himself, and I don't think they're hunting Kragg. Kragg can finish his business, and Johannes can meet up with the rest of us at Sarah's.
Yeah.
Because I know Johannes wants to collect his bounty. So Johannes, you can come with us, or you can go collect the bounty and come back with it.
Good point.
What do you say, Johannes? What do you want to do?
Can you go ahead and roll let's do a persuasion check there, Fenris.
Well, does he have a preference?
He does. Johannes does have a preference. Well, it depends on how persuasive it is. He's got another bit of persuasion. You're basically versus Darmita's persuasion, by the way.
11.
I believe Darmita got a 12, right?
No.
The previous time.
No.
No? What did you roll?
I rolled low. I'll go with...
She rolled a 6.
Oh, you rolled a 6. All right, so Fenris, you convinced him. He's like, good point. Money is money. I do like money. He jangles his purse. All right.
Oh, and Johannes. Because I probably overheard him.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give the old man back his stones?
Go ahead and This is a new roll, so go ahead and make the roll. Ooh.
15.
And you're charismatic, even though he's got a good modifier. He only rolled an 8, so he's like, fine. He gives them back to the old man and mutters something to him. Anyone with a passive perception over 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
wait, no.
Johannes, Darmita, your passive perception's pretty high, right?
I have 14
No?
exactly.
Okay.
I have 15.
So Darmita, he actually glances out of his eye as he's giving these back to make sure Darmita's out of earshot, which is why she doesn't hear. But most of the rest of the group hears him pass the old man and says, someday I'll find out exactly why you love these things so much, and also what it is between you and Darmita. In the meantime, here you are, and gives them back to the old man. He saddles up, climbs up on one of the saddles and gets ready and gets the young couple out of the wagon. They seem a little perplexed. Into the wagon, out of the wagon, into the wagon. They so Toby and Kara climb up on the other horse. And who else is going? Kragg?
Oh, Kragg is. Yeah.
Okay,
Kragg
so
needs to go back to town.
So you'll be walking.
He's literally been carrying his dead brother.
Yeah. All right.
Kara and
Kara and Toby. Yep.
Yeah. Senun, it was a lot more difficult rescuing you than first anticipated.
Yeah.
Send your regards to Farmer Bill and Mayor Kessler for me.
All right. Thanks again so much for coming to get us. We're always gonna remember you guys. And Kara leans forward. She's clearly the more confident of the two, and she's like, "We are in your debt. If there's anything we can do, you let us know."
Okay, I'll remember that.
Benkuhm would like to teasingly intimidate the smaller man.
Go ahead and roll.
Okay, thank you. 18.
Oh, damn.
There
it is.
You just like juke him. You're just like.
Toby, who's in the front, he's riding Kara's around back. He looks up and kind of gives a nod to each of you as he goes. And when he locks eyes with Benkuhm, your face morphs into one of the bone devils, and you growl at him. And he simultaneously falls off the horse, shits himself, and flees down the road screaming.
Oh
my God, they're back! Oh my God, he rolled a nat 1.
As long a ripcord fart, I am a-okay with the consequences.
Oh, there's a little trail behind him as he's running away.
Am I close enough to that situation?
Yeah, you absolutely are.
Am I gonna attack of opportunity?
You're gonna have to run a bit to actually catch up to him and then let him leave your range, but that'll work. Yeah, it's a bit of a trek, but you're like, oh.
I just meant if I was there. Then
no, he does get a few feet on you.
Order.
Yeah, he gets a few feet on you.
I'm not chasing him down, no.
Oh, so he's running down the path.
Yeah, that's Benkuhm's job.
Kara rolls her eyes as, this is the man I married. Okay. Turns the horse. Toby! 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 Johannes rolls his eyes and kicks his horse and follows after. Kragg, you're standing with the rest of the group?
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go with them, right?
Okay.
It's just about everyone needs to get it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm gonna get into the wagon.
I'm gonna wait for that to come back, and yeah, that's the whole thing.
I'm gonna get in the wagon, and while I do, I'm gonna use the pearl of power. Yeah, I'm a little low on spells.
Yay! I did my job as a DM. I made the sorcerer.
Didn't you let us get a long rest?
I didn't get a long rest yet. We might have another engagement.
Yeah. So you climb into the back of the wagon, close the door. The old man is kind of sitting there mumbling to himself and looking happily at the stones and arranging them on one of the seats. You pull out this brooch with the small pearl in the middle and you stare at it. And the world pulls away. And you take a deep breath and this energy flows into you. And at first it's a nice warm feeling of rejuvenation. But almost by comparison, you can sense, not far, maybe a few miles, you sense this presence just for a second. And you hear this. And this has nothing to do with the Pearl of Power. It's just that by contrast, you sense the difference. And for just a moment, you hear a quiet, just on the edge of hearing, voice.
I will find you.
Right.
And then you're back in the wagon. And the pearl kind of had this iridescent glow, fades a little. You know from experience that it'll kind of rejuvenate in the moonlight.
Okay.
You have your spell slot.
I'm going to attune to my boots.
Absolutely. You guys can take the time to do that. You guys are on the move. All right, so I'm going to jump over to Craig's side of things for a few minutes. So if anybody wants to grab a coffee or whatever, I'm a late night coffee drinker because I'm crazy like that. So I'm going to jump over to Craig's side because he and Johannes are taking the small folk. So we'll be back with them, with the rest of you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
You're welcome to listen if you want.
Always split the parts.
Yeah, let's split the party. All right, Kragg.
Always split the party.
You are plodding along. The horses easily outpace you, so they kind of have to keep pausing and resting. That seems to be okay because after the fall, Toby's feeling a little bit sore, and they're okay to go at a slower pace. It's been a lot for them. Actually,
horses prefer to walk if they can.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's been a lot for you. I mean, you're a tanner by trade, living on the edge of a hamlet in the relatively settled area. Kind of, it's Wildmount, but it's on the edge of Wildmount, so kind of north of civilization. A little. Oh, sorry. Yeah, north of civilization, and. It's a pretty wild area. You're pretty used to fending for yourself. You've definitely been in some scrapes, but nothing like the last few days.
No. Yeah.
Johannes seems to be content to ride quietly along as the small folk kind of chatter. And go ahead and do an insight check for me if you care to.
Sure.
Actually, I'll let you choose. You can do insight or perception.
Yeah. I guess I'll probably... I like the idea that I'm sort of looking him over, considering I don't really know this guy at all. I believe my perception... Yeah, perception is quite okay. Did that roll? There it goes. It didn't roll well, though. 8.
Okay, so... You're very distracted. I mean, you are literally carrying the corpse of the brother that you killed under the sway of the succubus. Mm-hmm. You're getting a lot of flashback moments to just good times. Your brother and you squabbled at times, as siblings do, but he was a business partner as well as a brother. You spent a lot of time together. He would tend to deal with the more wild side of things, and you would treat the game that he brought back. But it was a good arrangement, and he did stay with you when he was in town, and then the rest of the time he was a bit more... I'm going to assume, don't let me speak if you have different backstory. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I think we're going to go somewhere with that, yeah.
Let me rephrase that. How much time... What was the last conversation out of the sway of the succubus that you had with your brother?
Well, this is something we haven't talked about, which is I don't actually know why Kragg was up there. Whether he was with both of them, presumably, were sort of lured out there for some reason, or if they went for some reason. As we talked previously, the town has old traditions. Now, I never contextualized that as meaning that they were a town full of, fanatic cultists or anything, right? Like, again, he's not really a warlock in the traditional sense. Mm-hmm. This pact is unwilling and has sort of happened by happenstance in an odd way.
So let's flash back. You and your brother had been checking the outer lines, and your brother had been complaining that things kept cutting the prey loose, and that things had been scaring the game, and that he'd been having to go further and further afield to get what he needed to bring back for you to treat.
Right, and so it's Hunter Tanner. That's cool. I like that.
And so that explains some of your abilities of being able to handle yourself in a fight as well. So he'd asked you to go along with him in a small group, just to go check the far lines, pretty far away from the city. You sometimes used to do this, but he was saying, he was down a few men and he wanted your help, and you should get out, little brother. You should get out more, little brother. It's a big wide world out there.
You are always needing my help, Drac.
Well, it's not... Oh, here, hold on.
Well, it's not so much that I need your help. I'm just doing a favor. I promised Mother I would keep an eye on you.
I reject this.
I can't actually hear... Whoa. Hey, that's really loud.
It's too demonic. He's not a demon.
That's fair. Let me see if I can find a better one.
It was good when there was a demon voice in Fenris's head, but
that's still pretty demonic.
Just do the voice. I'm literally trying to imitate the voice you were doing when you did Kragg.
That's true.
Because you
I do a lot of voice actors.
I ever did. Like,
yeah.
Just
all right, that's fine. I'll do his brother. All right, I promised Mom and Dad I'd keep an eye on you, little bro, and and that involves getting some sun from time to time.
Well, couldn't hurt, right?
Hey, somebody cut this thing loose. What's that? You guys look up ahead, and you can see this fallen deer this is a flashback, by the way, in a slight clearing. And you see a deer that had managed to get loose from one of the traps on the edge of the clearing, and it has now fallen in the middle of the trap. And there is this thing, kind of small humanoid creature, standing over it, pulling out bits of innards and chewing on them. You get a little closer, curious what this thing is, and your brother reaches up, grabs an extra hand axe off of his belt, forces it into your hands, and says, "Careful. What is that thing?"
I don't know. Is it you described it as humanoid. What am I?
It's kind of small and hunched over the body of a fallen deer.
Can I not make it any color? It's like a silhouette.
You can do a perception check.
Sure. 18.
Whoa.
We have dark vision too.
Yeah, your brother doesn't seem to notice. He's like, "Come on, we'll scare it away. No big deal." He starts marching in there, and doesn't hesitate. But you hold back a second and you look at it and you see dark reddish skin, leathery wings. It's what you would later realize was an imp, and is busy munching away on the innards.
Quite small, so tiny, so the size of a squirrel.
No, it's a bit bigger than that. It's probably the size of a medium-sized dog. Yeah, smaller than a halfling, but not totally small. My imps are not like little shoulder dwellers most of the time. They're a little bit bigger than that. And this one's a fair size. It'd be like head and shoulders.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's just chewing away on this. Its tail, kind of scorpion-like tail, kind of twitching over his shoulder, and its leathery wings is just kind of ruffling. It's his back to you guys. Your brother's like, we can just scare it off.
Yeah, I reach out, wait, that does not.
Your brother moves just beyond your reach, ignoring you like he did so often when you were growing up, and he goes running in. He's like, he throws his other hand axe, and it hits the imp but scatters off to one side, not doing as much damage as it probably should have. The thing turns around and hisses, and at this point your brother goes, and he goes running in there, drawing another blade. You're about to
don't
at this point you also look around as you hear twigs snapping nearby. And you're standing on the edge of this clearing. Your brother's now in the middle of it, kind of swinging it wildly at this giggling imp.
I thought he ran off into the woods.
No, he ran towards it.
Okay.
And the imp is busy laughing at him.
Come on, you can do better than that.
Hold on, there we go. So your brother's kind of in the middle against this solitary thing, and he calls back to you, "Hey, come on, help me scare this thing away or kill it." And then you hear twigs around you snapping, and you look and you see one shadow step out behind a tree. Definitely medium-sized humanoid. Though you got good eyes in the dark. And I'll take your previous perception check. You see what looks at first glance to just be maybe a ranger or some armed figure carrying a spear, but you notice that their cloak kind of falls to one side, and their hood kind of falls back, and their skin is dark red, and they have leathery wings. As a Cambion, what you would later realize is one of the Cambion children of the succubus, is standing there, and you look again, and another one. And then another imp kind of flies down, and they have now surrounded you and your brother, and the one imp is still sitting, giggling and laughing and dodging the blows of your brother.
Drac, stop. I don't know what's going on, but that is not...
It's just a little thing. We can... He looks over and sees the others. We don't want any trouble here. And the smaller Cambion... It's actually only a teenager.
Sure.
But looks up at you and looks up at them. You're trespassing.
Under whose authority?
My mother's.
I apologize if I don't know her.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any idea.
No.
That's all right. You can apologize in person. Let's go.
Drac, Look over at him.
Yeah. He's still holding a hand axe and a short sword. Actually, no, he threw the hand.
Read off of his like opinion of this.
I'm
a baby brother. What do we do?
He looks at them. He's like, "Look, one of you little pipsqueaks, piss off." And the imp stings him from behind. And he crumples to the ground.
Over to him,
he's not dead, but he is definitely.
Sure, but like he's poisoned. I'm gonna take a look at that wound.
It's a festering. Like you've seen bad wounds before, and it immediately starts swelling up. Oh, nice.
Not 20 medicine check.
It is swelling up fast,
Suck
and there's this
poison
greenness.
Out,
you absolutely do.
Yeah.
You do that, and you actually allow him to do an extra save, and you probably just saved his life. And he's sitting there. Oh, it's small, but it's got a bad bite. Don't let him behind you, bro.
Great. Can I grab the imp? Can I just like grab it? Like, neck?
You can make a swing for it, sure.
Like if he's right there to have been stinging, then I'm like.
Well, he stung and then moved back a bit as you did notice him. He's sitting there.
What? It's fair. He swung first.
I did another nat 20. I grab him by the throat.
You got
this is my brother. This is my brother.
Okay. No problem, man. No problem. He swung at me first. I just, I don't start fights. I finish them.
I kill him. I break his neck.
All right. Go ahead and how much damage can you deal with melee?
I mean, I guess 1 plus my strength.
And it's not a magical weapon, right? I think imps are.
I don't think they are. I think they just have the fire immunity. Oh no, they do. You're right. They do. I remember because I was looking at the stats for.
That's right. So you squeeze until his little red head turns purple, and he's just like.
I mean, like I guess I'm not really snapping its neck. I'm choking it out. They do have to breathe.
Yeah.
And he's just like. This one's feisty. Too much. Okay.
Eventually, this heavy thump comes down on the back of your head.
It seems appropriate.
And the other companions of this imp, you just black out. You awaken on the floor of the succubus temple. And she is pacing around you. And she's just kind of taking stock. Your brother has been awake longer than you have, and he's been speaking with her for a while. And seems very amiable, except oddly interested in why you were trespassing and how you were going to show your fealty to her. Your brother, being stubborn, spits in her face. And
oh, well, we can't have that. Oh, you're awake. Your brother was just making a first impression.
I can't take you seriously with that one. That one's not great.
No? Okay, I can't hear it, so hold on one second.
Yeah, I know, you can't.
No? Oh, I was just going to use the up.
How about this one? No, nothing.
I'll just do my voice. I'll do my voice. That's fine. Voice mod pro wasted. All right. Hey, I appreciate that you like my voice acting better. Actually, she was basically British anyway. Your brother was just making an impression on me. She squats down next to you. You're bound.
Right.
And like there is not much left to the imagination for her outfit, so you were just like, whoa, if you cared. And she kind of hooks up your chin. Now you seem younger, perhaps. And she kind of picks away at the tusks of your jaw, and runs a kind of a seductive finger along your temples. Perhaps you're a little more civilized than that one here. Tell me, are you the civilized one?
What are you doing here? It has been our home for our whole lives.
Well, you've gone a little far from home. You have entered my territory. I will admit, there are times we've had to be a bit quieter. But right now, the wilds are fairly empty of wandering folk. Which means I get a little bit lonesome up here. Answer my question. Are you the more civilized? There's a force behind this. A compulsion even. Go ahead and make a wisdom save.
What's going on with Drac?
He's bound, and a couple of Cambians are
so
holding him.
It's just that she's ignoring him because he's bound. It's not that, like...
Yeah, he's not being intentionally
just
quiet.
Standing there.
No, he doesn't seem to be under the, under her sway at all. But now she's looking at you and noticing the way in which you interacted with your brother, and she says, "My companions, my servants, told me that you came into our territory and you tried to hurt one of my pets." And she looks up at one of the imps. There are several in the rafters. Like, you count 8 before your attention is drawn back to her again. Many more than what the rest of the party noticed later on.
We were simply looking for game. To supply the hamlet.
Aren't we all, my dear? Aren't we all looking for game? So you like game? I like games. We have so much in common. Tell me. He is your brother?
Yes.
Blood runs thick and ties deeply. Have you ever heard about a set of brothers competing? Have you ever heard the old tales, an old folklore of one brother trying to best another?
But in the end, they always stand for each other.
Oh. How romantic. I do love a good tale. Let's see. And then you black out.
Yeah. I'm gonna save this time. It's predetermined. Cool.
So you go walking. By the way, I did not plan that music. That was pure luck.
Okay.
All right. So by this time, you're back at the hamlet, and Toby kind of shakes you from your reverie, and by saying, "Looks like we're almost home." And Kara's like, "Yeah. Looks busy." The small town definitely has a lot of people in it. In fact, you notice horses and a banner or two of the Eye of Pelor. The main center of the town has what looks to be a small group of people gathered.
This is Aasimar, right? This isn't
Aasimar,
go through town to get there? Okay.
No, this is Aasimar. Gotcha. It's outside the main garrison, bigger city, not too far.
Great, yeah. No, it's just you said town. I wasn't sure if you meant that we had to go through.
Sorry,
town to
no, I meant
like
something. The hamlet.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, and I think that's where we're gonna pause with you, and we're gonna take I'm gonna take a quick little break. And sorry guys, I know Darmita and the rest of them just came back, but we'll come back to you guys in just a moment. Doing this. Welcome back to the rest of the table, everybody. Thanks for your patience as it's almost like Shadowrun. In Shadowrun, you always go over to the hacker, do a side game. Everyone else eats a pizza. That was fun though. Thanks, Kragg. I've got a little bit more.
I enjoyed that.
But we're gonna tease that out. I do have more, so we'll watch for that opportunity for another flashback. Nice. All right, so we are back. We are SideQuests Live. We do take live suggestions, so if people are just tuning in, jump in. Yeah, be active and chat. We got it
but I should do
down
that.
there. And keeping half an eye on it. but if I miss it, I'll just drop it down there. All right, so while Kragg and Johannes are off noticing that Nos Amlet has a small troop of Eye of Pelor group kind of clustered near the middle, everyone else, you're making your way through the wilds just north, what's called Muirwood, I think it's called. And you guys have been riding along with the wagon, dividing up loot, attuning to a variety of instruments and weapons and so on. So what do you guys want to do while you're traveling?
I'm going to be kind of scouting ahead of them.
Sure.
To kind of keep lookout for things.
Absolutely.
Threats, things like that.
Okay, since it's particularly looking for any threats or danger, I mean, you were just ambushed. I'm going to get you to do a perception check, but it is your favored terrain. So you can have advantage on this.
Alright. And it's a survival check, right?
Actually, I was going to say perception, because you're particularly looking out for any baddies. Although, Benkuhm, if you want, you could either do a perception or a survival check as well.
All right.
I personally would prefer survival, but I'll go with
21.
Well, because you said you're on the lookout for baddies. Oh, for those, yeah, that's a 2.
That is a 1 and a 2.
A 1 and a 2. So we'll resolve Bela's in just a moment, Darmita's in just a moment. Benkuhm.
Oh, boat. Smashing with a boat.
Weird. I can suddenly hear myself. That's very strange. I don't know why. Why? Hold on. Sorry. That's going to throw me off. I think it is... Why? Technology.
Oh no.
That's not roll 20. I just hit something, and now I can hear myself. One sec. No, don't know why.
You just have Twitch open. I did that once.
No, I don't have Twitch. I no idea why. Audio source? No. Weird. Hold on one sec. Okay, so it's not the stream. Must be something weird with Zoom. All right. Anyway. Whoa, that's very distracting. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
I mean, listen to your input is just a standard feature on Windows, so it might be that. I don't think there's a hotkey to turn that on, but...
Yeah, apparently I found a hotkey. Weird.
So that's what it is?
I think it's Zoom. Zoom is messing me up.
No, I just mean in standard Windows stuff, you can go into your,
Well, I guess I'll check that out real quick. In the meantime, I'll suck it up. Benkuhm with a 21. You are gonna. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, so with a 21, you can definitely navigate, no problem. You know which camp that the brigands are going to be at this time, and you have fairly easy path. So you go ahead and find your way pretty quick.
I'm not gonna tell anybody, but I guessed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
D20 represents dumb luck, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Once pointed in the right direction, and I've guessed 10 times, so this is the one of 10 dentists that people should not go to.
That reminds me of what do they call it? I think... Sorry, this voice thing is really messing me up.
Recording turned on to listen to your audio.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I'm recording things? Oh, sorry guys.
So
technical difficulties.
Bring up your microphone, right click, go to properties.
I already checked there. It's not that. Definitely not. 1, 2. Now I get triple echo.
Okay.
Yeah, even when my mic is muted, I can hear it. So I don't know what's going on. All right, tell you what. This is weird, but I'm just going to try and send something through.
Darmita's thing doesn't work.
Send all the stuff out to the Yeti instead. Okay, well, I can still hear myself. That's annoying.
That's what the pro streamers do. So you can always keep tabs on that.
On your own volume. Yeah. Well, at least now the lag is a little less. So anywho.
Particle speed is doubled.
Oh, that's right. So you're going to be... Whoa. Yeah, this is annoying. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to pause for a sec.
Sure, yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back in just a sec. Oh, hey, Darcy, go ahead and explain the giveaway for me, will you?
Sure, yeah. So we are running I guess it's a raffle. That would make sense. That's how you would do it. For I believe, Shadowrun 6 box set, which is pretty cool. We're planning on doing Shadowrun eventually again. Someday.
Ooh. Something's chewy here. One sec.
Longest running one so far, and in this campaign. And then send that to either the Twitter or the Instagram, or you'll find a way, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Sorry, can you do me one more favor? Because I think it cut out as you were speaking. I fixed my audio, by the way. I figured out what was wrong.
Nice.
But can you just say the Umbra de Serra part one more time? And anyone who wants to do this live or after the fact, say the name, just so we can get the name one more time.
Yeah. It would be Umbra de Serra, suba luna plena, corone de stella, suba luna plena.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Sorry about the delay, folks. And my mic is finally working. It was a Voice Mod Pro problem. So I got... No, this is a problem. It's a great program. But I had the wrong button switched. Because apparently it's got a hotkey that I have to watch for. All right. Benkuhm, you are riding up next to Archibald, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
I think I was at the front of the wagon, yes.
Yeah, so you and Archie are riding away, clippity-cloppity, and he's chatting away with you and just kind of generally trying to get to know you a little bit because it's the first time you've ever met him.
So where did you come from? What's your deal here?
I love it. Keep going.
You're a strapping drink of water. Is that how the saying goes?
These are actually Archibald's words.
I drink water.
I try not to as best I can. Do you have anything to drink?
Water.
Yes,
well,
Archibald has run low.
To do. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so you guys are getting
I feel like
to know
you
each
might
other.
have had natural purpose to that scene, though, Todd.
No, not really. I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Please actually jump in because I was just bullshitting.
No. That is exactly what Archibald would do. He is a bullshitter.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so unless you have anything you particularly want to say to Archibald, you're just riding in silence there, Benkuhm?
Could I get a visual description? I don't know what his race is.
Absolutely. So he's a human, and he's a little bit shorter than average. He kind of looks like a noble. He's got very fancy clothes, but they're tattered around the edges, although a little less so now with prestidigitation. having been cast on him recently. He carries himself as a fop, as a dandy. He's got a powdered wig and everything. He does carry a dagger, which he's been kind of clutching closely, and he's also got this broken, or not broken, but short blade of what looks like a longsword with a basket hilt tucked in his belt. And when he's passed the reins off to you to drive, he's like, "You take a turn. Oh, beasts of burden." He mumbles away, and he's kind of inspecting this blade and kind of, if you didn't know, well, the mechanic is he's busy attuning to it.
Oh.
And he kind of hefts it. It's a little bit heavier than a rapier that he's used to, but it's got the cross hilt, and it's got a basket where the hand is that's just big enough to fit two hands if you want to, but you can actually just wield it one-handed. He's testing the weight, and because it's got only like a 5-inch little nub of a blade on it, it's quite light. And he's kind of just waving it around and looking at it.
There'll be some trick to this thing. No one would keep a broken half-blade thing.
That's about when the attunement kicks in, and
just gotta find the right.
And he does a little flourish just in front of Benkuhm, and this brilliant light blazes forth as though looking at a sun. Just the heart of this blade, which extends now from the kind of the nub of a thing, now extends out a good, like, almost 4 feet from there.
There we go.
Well, except he says it almost in a lovingly way. He's like, "There we go," and I would ask
for a check from this person.
For a what check?
A performance from Archibald, if possible.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Impressed Benkuhm is.
Absolutely.
Might not be impressed for some reason.
Well, let's find out. He is a duelist rogue. I don't think he's proficient, so 18 was on the roll.
I show practically no facial expression besides like a curled eyebrow or a raised eyebrow, and just a subtle nod, like a sensei, just like nodding, just solemnly.
Nice. So he has made an okay impression on you. That's good. I don't have one under the old man. Hold on. I'll leave this one here for the old man. All right, so... Oh, yes. Oh, and Johannes has a raven on his shoulder, by the way. Cutting back to the other side. Anyway, so, yes, Archibald is finally attuned to his Sunblade.
Is it like a special Sunblade that has, like finesse?
Sunblades automatically have finesse.
Do they? I've never looked up the
stats. They do.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jay, it is a sort of like a longsword hilt that ends here and then extends out when you decide to turn it on, taking a bonus action to activate it. It is a +2 magic item, and it glows with the light of the sun for, I think it's 10 or 15 feet, and it can be more than that if he wants it to be.
Hyper contrasting with this whole game.
Yeah, it is not subtle, and he's just like...
I mean, it does make sense, right?
At that point, Bela, you are pulled from your kind of... We're going to cut back to you in a sec about what just happened before this, but Bela, you see this brilliant light shining back towards the wagon. It seems a little bit out of... it seems very strange at first, and then you see this blade of pure light being wielded by Archibald at the front, and he seems pretty pleased with himself.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you want to do anything and head back, or are you just going to keep distracted?
No, I'll press on.
Okay.
I'm quite concerned about what's out here, and I don't want to get distracted by what's going on with them.
Sure. So, Archie puts away his blade. He figured...
How do I turn it off now? Dang it.
And then eventually he's like wills it and it turns off. Right. Maybe I will keep this. tucks it back in the scabbard, for lack of a better place to put it. All right. Meanwhile, Darmita.
Yes.
You're riding through, but it's almost on autopilot. You know vaguely where you're going, and you are extremely distracted. You haven't had a whole lot of time to actually digest what the old man means in your life. I don't know how much time you spend thinking about your mother. You didn't. You spent a lot more time with your father. I don't even think you knew that she was different. So she probably left when you were very little. You have a few vague memories, but they're fuzzy at best. But hearing her name, whatever it is, Internet.
Come on, Internet, help me out here.
But hearing her name brings back a lot of suppressed memories. And learning what you've learned about her, about yourself, about the old man, his withered old skin and his madness totally hide what lies beneath. But you've seen his true form. You've touched his mind. Literally, they have telepathy, and that's how you were communicating before. And you know that he is a deva, a fallen deva, and he chopped off his own wings and shatters his own memories. And to learn that your mother was part of that, it's very distracting. You cast your mind back to trying to find fonder memories, and you remember your father one night sitting around a campfire. He didn't know you were up, and he was sitting there clutching one of his prized possessions, a necklace with a feather attached to it. He never really explained what it was, but you might have guessed. And he would be sitting there kind of humming a tune, slowly sitting staring into the fire. That tune's in your head now. That same necklace is around that same necklace is around your neck now. I'm assuming you would keep it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I don't. It's hidden.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah.
I don't wear it out.
No. It's well hidden, well worn. You'd always assumed it was a token of some animal, but it might have been something more than that.
I'm gonna just kind of grab my neck and hold it and just humming to myself.
The same tune. As you're doing that, a shiver runs up your spine. And you get this sense it's a flicker, a feeling, almost like a call in the woods on the edge of hearing. But your normal senses can't quite pick it up. What do you do? I'm
going to look around.
It's the same old forest you're so used to. In fact, you're so used to it, you're almost blind to it. That explains the 1 and 2 on your perception checks, by the way.
Fair enough. I'm going to... Yeah. I'm going to go back to... Is it the sense that I get, is it like... You know that sense you get, the fight, flight, freeze? Sense when you don't see anything bad, but you feel like the hairs on the back of your neck kind of raise and you cross the street.
It is exactly that sense, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the cart, and I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace.
Sure. So you rush back and throw branches and bits of shadow. You just pull it from being your Gloomstalker nature, start disguising the wagon. The dandy's like, oh, you throw something on him. He's like, I just got this cleaned.
Johannes isn't here anymore. Keep it clean, will you?
You shush him, and there's just a shift in the wind.
I grab the bridle.
That translates to?
It was almost impossible to make out.
I stop the horses and try to, as silently as possible, call Benkuhm and Fenris.
They stop immediately and go over and kind of scoot over to you. Archibald takes the reins. He's like, fine, I guess it's my turn. Archibald, Fenris. Benkuhm, Fenris. Darmita has called you over to the side.
Did I hear that on the wind?
Yes, actually you did. The old man's mutterings almost blocked it out, but he actually stiffens. As soon as he hears it, looks, and then kisses the stones. We'll tuck you away here, where you're good and safe. And then Darmita calls you over.
Okay. I get out of the carriage and I just look around, and while I slowly make my way over to Darmita.
Same.
There. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast my Hunter's Mark so it's available.
Sure.
Okay.
You can do that.
Yeah. It's ready to go. You ready an arrow. A rain starts to fall.
Hey.
It had been clear just a few moments ago, and just a cloud kind of blocks the sun, and another one shortly behind it, and another one, and then rain starts to fall. You guys, from where you are, you're moving away from town. It looks like this is moving, a bit of a storm front moving down from the north, down towards the town. Not a big storm, but in the distance.
Well, we've gone through a storm, correct?
You have.
Oh. I think somebody is making these lightning strikes.
It's the eye, I think. It's the one that's hunting me. Back at the fight,
Then why do
one of the spine devils tried to take me to carry me off and take me to him.
Yes, I know. I was there very clearly. I know, of course.
Yes. Well, you didn't necessarily know what he said to me. You just saw him grab me.
Of course, yes. I didn't hear the words, but I saw this escape you made. Yes. Quite impressive as always. Darmita, continue.
Your hunter's mark is ready, and you're sitting. It's moving south now.
South?
Towards the town. And in amongst, you see a flicker of lightning far to the north, kind of towards the mountain peaks where the big storm was previously. And now it's another flicker. The kind of lightning that stays in the clouds. There was a bolt from the ground for a second, and then way far north from here, just on the edge of where you can see. And then there's a couple of flickers of lightning amongst the cloud as the storm moves. Very localized, probably within about 5 miles or so. Not near you directly, but moving south. At its closest, if it keeps going, it'll probably be 5-6 miles away, but not moving in your direction. And it's moving at not too fast, but it's noteworthy.
Yeah, just also going back to what Darcy said, I can't do the hunter's mark yet because I still get the pass without trace up.
Right.
They're both concentration.
But you call that to mind, that kind of mantra that your father taught you. The whole breathe in, exhale hard. Breathe in, half exhale, hold it. Be ready to fire. The storm moves past. It seems to be moving down. Benkuhm, with your survival check and knowing the layout and just your pure blind luck of your natural 20, you're like, hey, that's over Nos Omelette.
Well, I'm glad we didn't go there. Hopefully the others are okay. How far away are we from Sarah's camp?
Benkuhm, you know you're not too far now. You're probably about half hour.
Only a mile.
Okay.
I think it was probably best that we let them go ahead and we stayed away.
All right.
I would like to sit by a fire. Let us go. Oh, wait. I totally forgot. Benkuhm also has story points to hit on with you.
Do it.
No, it was just more of when Darmita called us over. I wasn't sure if it was like, are we fighting or is she going to tell us something?
She just had she got a case of the willies.
The heebie-jeebies.
My heebie-jeebies went off.
Yeah.
Shiverdales.
I now that actually it's interesting because I have just you two and we don't have Johannes, who I quotably mistrust, I guess. And then our new friend is mourning the loss of his brother. And we have Archibald, who just seems dumber than me.
That's the way he likes it, by the way. He likes to seem dumber than most people.
Yeah, he's a good dandy. Okay. Golden Eyes. You seem to be pursuing a path of vengeance. Vengeance will consume you.
Maybe. But he killed my parents.
You know, before I met you all, and the imprisonment, and before I joined the band, I sailed the coast. I was an exile of my mountain, and they blamed me for my brother's death. And so I left, vowed vengeance on who I thought to have killed my brother, and he landed me in jail, where then I was later bought and cattled and eventually escaped like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Scorpion. That is 100% true story.
Who was this person that landed you in jail and possibly killed your brother?
Captain Hook.
And you're telling me that...
Which surprisingly is the leader of my tribe.
The leader of your tribe?
Yes, it seems as though he was worried my brother would grab the leadership of our mostly chaotically organized clan. Really, I don't know what
Sailing
he was
Goliaths.
Oh no!
That was after. That was after.
Just because they think I murdered the tribe.
Right. Sorry, I missed that part.
No worries. This is all very clear backstory.
No, do it.
Yeah.
You know, Golden Eyes, I have 100% told Darmita all of this before. And so this is not news to my friend who I know very well. But Golden Eyes, I will have you know that wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be watching over you like a bear hybrid of an elk. And I will move so fast, your enemies won't even know that destruction is upon them. And you will know. You will know vengeance.
Good.
Sorry, I tried not to laugh.
That's all right. It's all good.
Maybe one day we'll meet this Captain Hook.
Who is the leader of my tribe, yes.
Yes. And we'll see what vengeance comes.
I met a great captain down on the sea named Peter Pan, Captain Pan, and he taught me a lot. I can sail the 7 seas, or the 9 seas, or the Taldori seas. Anyways, Darmita, what a crazy thing to just be repeating all the things you know about me in front of else so openly and honestly. But one thing, vengeance will consume you. But it is an adrenaline rush, and you know I live for those, so I am in.
And that... solidly.
Here are my words of warning, but I'm cool with it.
that I think definitely sums up why you are welcome in Morally Ambiguous. It will consume you. So let's get a knife and fork and consume it. Wait, what? Love it.
Love it. Love it.
Remember, lean into the poison.
That's right, yeah.
Benkuhm is really aware of how much he might be affected by this chain either, despite how wise he touts himself to be.
He's very wise.
That's very wise. In fact, that whole time the chain was just gently pulsing, thrumming as though it was purring.
It was just this guy makes some good points, yeah.
I like this. This guy is making sense.
Vengeance will consume you, and that's a good thing. Let's go do some vengeance.
Right. Okay. First things first, let's get to camp.
All right, so you guys go a few... it's very short to get to camp from this point. You guys ride in, you give the right signals at the right points so that the archers on the outside let you into camp. After a few minutes, it's almost like you're in the woods. You see nothing, and then boom, Oh, there you are. So you're already in camp, and you see like the disguised lean-tos and everything of this mobile brigand camp. And after a few minutes, you see the hulking form of Bela come marching out of the trees, and comes up and.
I say something to him in Giant about like just like a passing joke. And then about our adventures and like killing somebody just very callously.
So he stops looking at this wagon. He nods at Darmita, and he looks at everyone else, and he nods at Archibald, and he looks at Benkuhm, and he leans in and takes a really strong look at him. And then it goes, Belek, you speak giant? But you smell I don't like. Who are you?
Nice.
Damn, Belek. Got me good. I walk into camp.
Belek's left scratching his head as this 7-foot human walks off into camp, dressed in dandy's clothes. Belek looks broadly confused, like,
Right.
Oh god, Golden Eyes, I told you that whole story in like full costume and wear.
All the while I knew that you were in costume because you changed in front of me. And I was
yeah, he knew who you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, Belek is fully and soundly confused, as are many of the others. As you walk into camp, you guys sit back, and out comes Sarah, the brigand leader, and she's still bandaged around her rib cage and wearing not her regular armor because the bandages are in the way, but just regular clothing and this bandage around her. She kind of looks at you guys. Ah, you returned. Dandy, you found them. Good. I trust you're all well?
Well enough.
So, your business with the magistrate? The succubus?
It's complete, but there's more complications now. On our way back, and I tell her what happened, mostly, when it comes to finding out that we're being hunted. There's a storm that's moving around. We were ambushed.
We noticed the storm. It was brutal. We were fortunate we weren't caught in the worst of it. Although we got a little bit scrambled. Some of our scouts didn't come back yet.
I do warn her that the Eye of Pelor is out in full force.
This Eye of Pelor, you mean like Ostrin? Lord Ostrin, the paladin prick who leads his little sect?
I mean, them and their leader, Ostrin's leader, the Eye. We learned that from the Veiled One.
You did. She didn't. So she seems perplexed.
No, I mean that's what I tell her. Yeah, I say, like, I reveal that to her.
She seems perplexed and quiet about that. It's funny. My father always thought there might be someone pulling Ostrin's strings, but I never believed him. Well, regardless, we're preparing to move on. We're probably going to leave the whole area, but I have interests before we leave. Are you able to do me a favor before we go? I can reward you.
All right, I think this is what you were talking about before we left.
Yes.
Another job.
She's stirring kind of one of the fires, the cooking fires, a pot of soup or stew or something bubbling away. Yes. I was hoping to use the pardon made by the magistrate to free my father, even just to get him out of the door from the garrison prison. Of course, that's gone to shit now that the magistrate himself is... Do you think he's dead? Did the succubus kill him?
He is one of our children. And on the way there, we caught another one. Apparently, a number of them under the Eye of Pelor are devils or cambions. this eye is bringing all sorts of manner of things under his sway, and he gained a measure of control over a couple of her children, and that's why she was so interested in getting them back.
I see. Well, that does complicate things. Regardless, I can't let my father rot away in a prison cell if I can help it. I'm looking for a group to go and get him. The more subtle, the better. She looks up at Billick, actually. She's like, I might need some people who can operate a little bit more quietly. You've managed to survive thus far. Perhaps I can interest you in lending a hand.
Your father's held up in a garrison prison.
Yes, he's been imprisoned. Used to be one of the actual Pelor sect, not this Eye of Pelor nonsense, but he was a member of the clergy of Pelor.
And Alstron's there?
Alstron's never too far away. He travels around the region, but he definitely spends a certain amount of time near the garrison. The garrison is in the larger, kind of more city, not the hamlet. You guys, that's where you broke. It was within sight of the magistrate's house.
Yeah. Trip back to that city.
It would be dangerous for you, I realize. I understand if you don't want to, but I don't want to leave this region without at least giving it a shot. Some of my men do want to move on to perhaps less stormy pastures, but I'd like to at least try to get him out.
Sarah?
Yes?
If we were to do this, could I ask a favor in return?
Of course. What do you need, Darmita? It's hard to say Darmita in a British accent, just saying. Darmita. Yeah. Darmita. I should look this way. Yeah. Yes, Darmita. Anything. Well, within reason.
I need you to look after somebody for me and keep him safe. As
safe as I can keep anyone here.
And keep him safe.
All right. She agrees.
And the old man is probably sitting with me, I'm assuming?
No, never too far away, although he keeps wandering off, and you kind of keep tugging him back.
Yeah.
At one point, he starts to, like, poke Billick. He looks like, stop tickling me. And
I'll just take out his rocks, and I'll hand them to him to play with.
Oh, he definitely is happy now. And Sarah looks at the old man and says, I was wondering about him. I've seen him around, actually. Likes to hide out in river basins and underneath. Seemed a harmless old crazy.
Oh. I just think it best he stays here until I can figure some things out.
Of course. If you wish. I'll make sure that he doesn't wander too far.
Yes, keep a very close watch on him. He does like to travel.
Zian.
And let him with his rocks.
Has anyone seen Zian? And Hoot, who's been not too far away, goes, yes, I saw him last night before his watch. She's like, is he here now? I haven't seen him since. All right, well, Hoot, I guess you're up. Keep an eye on this one. Oh. All right. Hey, old man. Come here and stir this soup. The old man kind of stirs the soup, and whenever Hoot gets distracted, because Hoot is questionable at best, and he's been on soup duty, and now the old man occasionally is stirring and occasionally drops a stone into the soup and then tries to fish it out with, and then eventually uses mage hand to like grab the stone out of the soup and bring it back up and sucking the soup off the stone. He's like, oh, these are good, Darmita. You should try one of the soup stones. Gives it over to you.
Sarah, I'll do you this favor. But I'm going to need to know everything you can tell me about your father, what he looks like, your thoughts on how to get him out.
Absolutely. In fact, I might even... I'll get as close as I can if I'm seen there. You have a talent for making yourself not appear as you are. I don't have such gifts, but I was thinking of coming as far as I could. I mean, it might be one of those cases where it's best if you do it yourself. I was going to send Zian, but I don't know where he is.
I think we need to find out where your people are. Like I said,
we got a bit scattered in the storm. I'm not too worried. Go ahead and do an insight check.
Yeah. 15.
She is a little puzzled. Zian, by the way, you remember Zian. He was the guy who was flirting a lot with Darmita. Pretty close.
Yeah, he's a human fighter.
Yeah, he's pretty reliable in such that Hoot is usually the idiot or the screw up. Zian is kind of the one who often picks up the pieces. If anyone, he was kind of one of Sarah's go-to people. It's a bit odd that she thinks it's odd that he's actually not there.
Would Darmita pick up on
the
fact that it's been mentioned twice?
Yeah, you definitely noticed all this.
She does know him.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
Probably better than most. Probably. I don't know.
Actually, Darmita would know. Sometimes, if Zian had a fault, it's that he does like to gamble. And in times of a lot of stress, he kind of lets off some steam by going and gambling. So that's a possibility of where he's gone.
Okay. I'm not going to share that, though.
No, that's fair. He seems pretty reliable. Otherwise, you don't want to reveal that necessarily as a weakness of his, per se.
I'm just going to mention to Sarah, just be careful. And the eye is definitely on the hunt. We need to recuperate tonight, and then we can leave early in the morning and go look for your father.
All right.
So, can I ask a question like out of game?
Yeah.
Just a technicality question of people. With Disguise Self, I have it at both levels, first and second, but it doesn't say anything about if cast at a higher level.
I don't think... I mean, you can cast it. It doesn't give any benefit to cast it as a higher level, as far as I understand.
That's just my understanding as well. It's just if you ran out of first level slots and still at second, you could still cast it.
And you desperately needed to disguise yourself, you still could. So, yeah, you definitely can.
You see high level casters do that with shield all the time, where they only cast like high level spells, and then they like shield is 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
All shields, and then like 5 fifth level spells.
Yeah. It doesn't actually give it a bump though, although that'd be nice.
That would be too great. That would be a logical bump.
I would think so. Like extend the time frame of it or something. Yeah.
Like nice. An hour per level or something.
Yeah. I'm not
it's kind of limiting as it's currently written.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as it stands, you could burn the level 1, and if you needed a second hour, you could burn the level 2, and so on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, you guys kind of settle in and find out from Sarah. She starts telling you lots of details about the description of her father, how he had been imprisoned. it's pretty much all pretty standard stuff. You would, based on the description, you would probably recognize him on sight. Tian Telborn, he was essentially a cleric of Pelor, but the old Pelor, not the newer sect. And you get kind of all the standard stuff you guys already know, but you would definitely recognize him on sight. She does know that he's in the... She knows a little bit about the prison, which is that it's well guarded, that it's got different layers, and it's actually a garrison, but then a prison below that. So it's an underground kind of prison. And there are different levels, one of which is rumored to be haunted, and then further levels down below even. And it was all built on an older structure a long, long, long ago. But most of that's been kind of either collapsed or blocked off. And not used, but the first few subterranean levels are used as a prison. Again, out of character, you guys know all of this. But one thing of note she does say is that the Inquisitors have taken up, and those are the things that worry her the most. Essentially, they're mages. And they are used in interrogation, they're used as intimidation, and sometimes they actually leave the prison on assignment from Ostrin and go and do bidding around. Fenris, you have seen one of these Inquisitors. He's the guy you held and roasted, judging by the description of their clothes, their kind of uniform. They are the spellcasters, the mage spellcasters, the arcane. They are sanctioned arcane casters by the Eye of Pelor. And then, of course, there's the cleric kind of stream of spellcasters, which are the more cult fanatics and then paladins of the higher order of the Eye of Pelor.
Okay, so there was two of them then. There was one that we met in the mountains and then one recently.
Yeah, so the woman that you saw recently and one of the people that tried to ambush you on the way to the succubus, way back in that one, those were the cult fanatics. Those are the clerics, basically.
No, there was a caster.
Yeah.
That tried to counterspell.
Yes, he also... So you've seen a few of these Inquisitors. So yes, you've seen these. Yeah. They generally, magic is frowned upon by the Eye of Pelor.
Right.
And by their group, not the guy. Knights of Pelor, I don't know. We are the Knights that say knee. So yeah, they're the sanctioned casters, and a lot of times they wear these creepy old robes reminiscent of, black hooded kind of roby guys, not generally very well liked and generally feared. And several of them are permanently stationed at the prison to interrogate prisoners.
Okay.
All right.
Sarah?
Yes?
Do you know if there's any, say, sewer or other kinds of ways to get in?
Well, I don't know for certain. Nothing that I've come across. I have heard of... I've heard of the subterranean levels of the prison itself, but none of my... I mean, the city is rudimentary at best. Nothing compared to the bigger cities of Rexingtrum or any of those.
Oh, I have an idea. We're going to walk in. Or should I say, we're going to ride in.
And how might we do that?
Well, we have a carriage, and then I procure the wizard's staff and the wizard's book, and I say, I'm going to make myself look like one of these Inquisitors.
I too can make myself look like something.
Like one of the knights that we killed along the way, one of the guards.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to go through rummaging through sewers. We're just going to ride back in.
Archibald's like, but he's within earshot, let's say. He's like, wait, that's my wagon.
You're coming with us, Archie.
Yeah.
Am I? Well, then we'll have to talk
There's
about
more
my
booze
fee.
to be had. There's more booze to be had there.
And that's my fee. And Leto next to him's like, and passes him another drink. Both of them are already deep in their cups. He and Leto get along just fine. All right. We are going to pause that group as you guys are planning. Oh, one last thing, Sarah says. Well, we were going to restock before we have to leave the region. There are certain places that are a little bit more friendly to us than others. We're not too far from Smuggler's Notch now. Would you like to... I'm sending Hoot and some of the others in to resupply. Do you need anything? Do you want to come with? Or should we leave in the morning?
We can leave in the morning.
Do you guys want a shopping episode, or do you want to go straight to the prison break? Think about that.
I want to go straight to the prison break.
Prison break number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah,
number 2.
Let's do this.
All
We've
right.
got about an hour left, so...
Well, a little less. Actually, at this point, you guys are kind of making some plans and drawing up some of those things. I'm going to jump over. You're awfully quiet there, Trent. Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm listening for sure.
Nice. What's Benkuhm doing while everybody's doing all this? And most importantly, are you still disguised?
Oh, I feel like I would have gotten food in like the mess hall.
Okay.
Just very casually in the costume.
Everyone's giving you weird looks, but no one seems to be stopping you.
And I just kind of sit down with my usual demeanor, but I'm rather polished.
It's like watching a guy in a tuxedo eat Burger King.
And I stand up in front of the whole mess hall and I say, and for my final trick, and I begin to like sneeze, and I don't honestly know.
Just before you do this, I'm going to assume you've completely forgotten, and you go past Hoot, who's serving on the line, and the old wizard is sitting there kind of using mage hand to pass people drinks, and he's kind of enjoying this, and he's actually getting along pretty well with Hoot, and as you walk by, Hoot slops a big thing onto your tray, and the old man is like, and a beverage, and he leans into you, Benkuhm, and goes,
stop embarrassing yourself, you look ridiculous.
And then he sucks on his soup stone. Okay, then you finish eating.
No, I really hope he does that in the middle of my performance.
Oh, good.
And I look at him and I just say, may I continue? And again, I have no idea if disguise self can do this, but I'm assuming just because it's an illusion, Benkuhm begins to cough and pull scarves out of his throat.
But like, it's not
do
colorful scarves though. It's like winter gear.
Soggy scarves that actually came out of Benkuhm's body in an even grosser fashion. So he kind of just hairballs all of this to the table.
I'm gonna spend a plot point, sort of. I guess I'm a DM. I get to do that anytime. The scarf, because you don't have minor illusion or prestidigitation, but you do have a bag of holding that you stuffed a lot of shit into when you raided all those bodies. I mean, you're a fan of stripping things naked. So none of those dead bodies that you left in the woods had anything on them. Like, you took everything, like cloaks, clothes, chainmail. You've got a bunch of sets of chainmail, basic armor, weapons, and all of that stuffed in your bag. Archibald told you not to put anything pointy in there. And so you wrapped any weapons in clothes. So you're pulling out cloaks and like pulling them out of the disguise of yourself. So you're dropping piles of clothing that happen to belong to the Knights of Pellar, by the way, out into the midst of this group. And can I get you to do a sleight of hand check to see how convincing this legerdemain is?
Oh fuck!
You at least have advantage for like incorporating the illusion.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
you have advantage. 100%.
I got a +9 on this. 11.
All right, it's pretty passable. It's a little bit of the whole like you turn your back and go, but for the most part, it actually kind of pulls off. Sorry,
I told Chris Angel on like a failed YouTube video, like a David Blaine, like, oh, out on this like street performer gets caught doing like illusion, like gets caught cheating, doing an illusionary trick. And then as I kind of pull out the last scarf onto the table, you realize that like multiple bed sheets are now covering people's plates and like bowls. And I put the kind of
Archibald is applauding.
I kind of change disguise in front of everybody into Benkuhm, and I bow to the mess hall.
Archibald is like, bravo, well done. And Billick is losing his shit. Billick's just like,
my God, you're a wizard, Harry, or Benkuhm.
I prefer Harry.
Billick now call you Harry.
Slaps you on the shoulder, and then you guys share a long, hearty laugh.
That's why I didn't share what I was doing, because you guys were doing important stuff.
That is hugely important.
Really didn't want to interrupt that to just,
I'm making
puke up clothes.
I am making notes that Billick is convinced you're a wizard. That's
awesome to me. I totally was so confused. I was like, Billick's so fucking stupid. How does he not know who I am? And then you guys were like, oh, you're disguised. I was like, oh, yes. I am the stupid one.
All right, so we're going to jump back to Kragg just for a minute.
Okay.
So, Kragg, you guys have gotten into town. You live on the edge of town, but they have asked you to, Johannes, noting the group.
Make sure that, Toby and Kara get wherever they're going.
So you make your way into town, and it's a little more crowded than usual, and you definitely are picking up on the vibe that there's a lot of soldiers here, soldiers that are dressed a lot like the soldiers that recently ambushed you. Hold on, just loading Roll20. Not necessarily that it's going to be combat, just more so we have the visual.
Yeah.
It's a little blurry for some reason.
Map. It's loaded in now for me.
Ah, there it goes. Oh, that is not the button that I wanted to push. Is everybody still here? Okay, there we go. Okay, so you guys, this map, by the way, was from, I think, Neutral Party, which I was supporting on Patreon for a while, so hopefully they don't mind me still using their stuff. Gave you some money. So anyway, the inn, by the way, is the biggest building here, which I believe would be this one. It's called the Roaring Pony. And,
Great.
Actually, hold on, that's not the inn. That's not the inn. This is the inn.
I don't think it matters. It's okay.
It does, because half of the building has been...
Because I'm going to have combat there. Okay.
It does, in the half of the building is wrecked by a recent explosion, shattering out a bunch of windows. Not too recent, but I'm just going to draw something real quick. Let's just say that the river on the far side flows in a circular pattern just past the edge of this. And there's a bit of a balcony over it. This is kind of this is where Fenris and them had their run in earlier.
Right, so when I asked, did we have to pass through town to get to the hamlet, the answer was yes, not no.
No, that was actually the hamlet that you guys smashed up and then moved on through. Wasn't it? I'm assuming the town and the hamlet were the same, and then there's kind of a bigger city.
Well, either way, we were going to, the farmer. Maybe they're not actually in the hamlet. I don't know.
He's just outside.
Far.
Yeah, it was pretty close. So
it was pretty close.
So the just for the sake of the map, on the right side there, it's just on the way out of town was the farmer's town. So there's, if you want to imagine, there's a bit of a distance between this building and this building. I
assumed that where we were when we were getting Kara and Toby was closer to the farmer than it was to this building where we exploded. Maybe I was misinterpreting the directions, which I don't pay attention to directions.
That's
anymore,
okay.
So,
so
totally
just where I've drawn the red line, just imagine there's probably an extra couple of about a half a kilometer, maybe a kilometer between there. So this on this side. Sorry, I got to get that little pointer on the right with the farmers' fields. That's the the building where Bill and his wife Betty lived, where you did the deal with Mr. Kessler. And then
we were like an hour out of this town. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, let it go, Desi. It's all overlooking the valley kind of thing. So sure. you guys can easily go straight to Bill's, but you'll be relatively close to town.
We had to like cross a river. Remember that? We had to leave a river. It was a whole deal. We couldn't get past the stupid river.
Well, here's the thing, though. You guys.
Now it's on the same side as the river now.
But you guys crossed that little stream you were doing. You were coming at this kind of in a roundabout way. If you'd gone back the way you did, you would have to deal with the river. But you've kind of come around and down.
Not what I'm saying, but that's fine.
Anyway, don't worry about it for now. My imaginary cartography is not in line with your imaginary cartography.
It's fair. Yeah.
That's all good. So you can go a little bit further into town and see what all the fuss is about, or you can stay at the farm where stopping at the farm where Bill and Betty and...
okay, so we are coming in from the side where we don't even need to go into town.
Right.
Like, I don't even necessarily even see it from where my vantage is.
Well, you're kind of up on a hillside right now, looking down, so you can see the village. This is why you can see that there is an increased presence down there. Just on the edge of town, you can make out extra horses and the banners of the Knights of Pellar, but you can see the farm. Bill's farm is between you and there, so you can easily.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're back on the same side of the map. Yeah. North is up and all that. So where do you want to go? Do you want to go into town? Do you want to go to Bill's farm? Do you want to go someplace else? You know where the Johannes says we can talk to Bill or we can talk to. This Mayor Kessler. By the way, shout out to my buddy who's an actual mayor named Kessler in Ohio. What do you think, Kragg?
Just bringing Karen Toby home. You have business with the mayor or Bill, that is between you.
All right. Well, let's drop the... You know what? We need to get paid. We need to find this mayor first. Then we'll deliver the goods.
Well...
You could do a history check to see if you know exactly where the mayor lives.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out if, like... We haven't made it, like, to where they live yet. Basically,
no. They live...
We're not actually in, like... We're still in, like, wilds.
Yeah,
right?
You're on the... It's kind of like the outskirts. It's farm country for sure. You're traveling through fields at the moment.
Will take them as far as... Northamlet. And then I will be heading back to my home.
All right.
I have unfinished business I need to attend to.
Your tannery, what cardinal direction is it from town, and how far out of town is it?
I mean, cardinal direction is just going to be completely arbitrary because I don't know what direction anything is on here.
I know, but I sort of do, so that's why.
Yeah, right. Like
you're coming from the north. My
impression of it is like south, just because like that's where my brain was working. But like
you're coming from the north
closer
right now.
Towards. I mean, if we're coming from north, then it's north, I guess, because I'm picturing it from being like, there's the town, and then there's the hamlet, and then there's the like outside of the hamlet.
It starts to rain.
So. Great.
As you guys are kind of overlooking things. So you live on this side of the river, not too far, so you wouldn't have to go downtown Northamlet. To
you know what, the correct answer now that I think about it is whatever way is most commonly downwind.
That's fair. All right, so I would say you actually live a little west of the town, and that's why your brother asked you to travel a little farther than normal, because he has trap lines up north. And so you kind of skirted this way to get out of town. And now you're carrying his body down the same road that you walked out of.
Yeah.
All right, so you are going to pass right by Bill's farm on the way. It's a little bit... You could cut across field to get to your tannery faster, but if you want to go past Bill's farm, you can check in there and then go to your tannery.
That's excellent. That's beautiful.
Okay, so you guys make your way towards Bill's farm. I'm going to just put that a little bit bigger on the map. Not that it matters more so for the visual. I'm actually not kidding. Now let me just roll some dice, no reason. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to make you paranoid. Is it working?
No.
All right. So you guys...
You pull your punches. I already said this. I'm not scared of nothing, even though I have like 4 hit points because I haven't rested yet.
Oh my god, that's right. You are a wreck. Actually, the good thing is the rain is slowly washing the blood off of you at this point. Johannes and the others seem a little bit perturbed by the rain, and Kara and Toby are huddled together on the horse for warmth, and you're just trudging through the rain.
If I'm actually like gaming the system, I did like, I guess
you would have had a short rest.
Would I have gotten the short rest?
Because
the carriage didn't go with us; they went with them.
You would have had the short rest though, because just walking is actually not breaking a short rest necessarily.
Okay, that is definitely a GM's call. It's sort of unclear in the rules.
While they were looting, you would have had a few minutes.
I'll burn a few hit dice.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Sense. And I get back my warlock spells. Come on.
Oh right, it matters for you.
Yeah, it kind of does matter.
Yeah.
It's like the whole time I played Umberto Serra, we like never took a short rest that mattered. It was always like, take a short rest. Okay, now take a long rest. Like, okay, nothing happened. There was no point. Cool. Yeah, no, so I'll clean those up and I will roll a few some hit dice. What are my hit dice? They're like, I guess some D12s, but not all of them are D12s because I'm a warlock split. Whatever.
Yeah, spend whatever hit dice you want. So as you're walking through town, the storm starts getting heavier, and this storm cloud kind of passes from the direction you've been traveling overhead, and there's a flicker of lightning above, and then another. And do a perception check for me.
Yeah, sure. Do perception check. Not nat 20, but an 18 is pretty good.
All right. You glance up in the storm, just the flicker. It's almost as if you hear your brother's voice just be like, "Beware, little brother." And you look up and you see this glowing figure in the clouds. The clouds kind of cloak it in darkness, but they break at one point, and you see, brilliant as a false sun, moving down and across the land at at least 500-foot height, but wrapped in this cloud. But a couple of brilliant beams of sunlight give it away, and then it's gone. And you, after a little while, there's a bit of an outcry. You can see this storm cloud descend upon the hamlet, and it gets dark, so it's hard to see now, but you do see flickers of lightning, and every once in a while that cloud breaks as a sunbeam comes casting out of it. It's a very strange situation. And just as you get to Bill's, you get into Bill's, and Johannes has been... actually, let me see if Johannes has picked up on this, because it's dim enough with all the lightning, it might get lost, but you spotted it. And Johannes definitely didn't spot it. He only got an 11. So he's just under his cloak, and there's flashes of lightning to kind of explain the bursts of light. And you guys get to Bill's, and he and the others like very gratefully pile into the house. And Johannes is like, "We're back. Hello, Bill." And you're standing on the porch while the others go in, and there's Betty comes out. "Oh, thank God!" And she gives a big hug to Kara and just pulls them in and pulls in Toby. And she's like, "You're so stupid. Thank God." And she looks up at Johannes and she says, "Thank you, thank you." It's almost the most verbose you've heard Betty.
Yeah.
Don't feel her voice is necessarily canon. Just saying that.
Oh, I have an old sample of her voice.
And Bill,
I'm planning on using.
Nice. And Bill's like, "Oh, thank God. We've been word sick after that there storm came up. Thank goodness you came. Who's that on the porch?" Johannes is like, "Oh, he's with us. It's all right."
Toby knows me.
And yeah, Toby, yeah, he helped fight off the demons and the knights, and I don't feel good, Andy. Betty's like, it's okay, we'll get you. They're clearly delirious. And Kara's like, no, if you only knew. And you're busy staring at this storm, and there's this flicker on the wind of noise, and it's really hard to make out at this distance. And then the storm kind of gets a little bit louder, a little bit closer, and it's definitely whipping up at this point, and the lightning and the thunder. There's a couple of blasts of thunder that seem to come from pretty close to the center of town, but they're kind of, you're watching for this little flicker of light, and with a decent perception check, you're able to track what's lightning and what's this weird light. And it's kind of doing a slow circle, increasing in shape, and it appears to be, if you stay where you are, that little flicker of light will eventually kind of circle out over to where you guys are. It doesn't seem to be slowing yet, and it's moving at a pretty quick pace. Well, why don't you all just come in and out of the storm?
Is, right?
No, it's very strange.
I don't think there's a check that could figure that out. That's not.
I will let you do this.
It was like squinting at this, like,
what is that? And I want you help me decide what this is. Actually, this voice, a voice you remember from a very dark time, speaks to you quietly from the back of your mind, as it did once before. Twice before, actually. Once when you slew the beast that resembled this thing. Or rather, when it slew you, when the Bone Devil crushed you. It's a very similar resonance. In fact, it's the same. The voice of the Bone Devil spoke to you when it killed you in the ambush, but you remember now. It spoke to you once before. Your head wasn't clear. Your will wasn't your own. Your brother stood before you, bloodied, battered, but very angry. And when he hits you, you can tell he's pulling his punches, as he's saying things like,
"Come on, brother. Snap out of it. I don't want to hurt you."
You're back in that circle, in the succubus's lair. Her laughter. She's, go on, show me. Show me how the brother's love wins out. Go on. She's also simultaneously compelling you to attack your brother and fight to the death.
Yeah, because I'm charmed in this state, right?
Absolutely.
That's the implication of the.
Yep.
Of everything.
Your will is not enough, and you can feel yourself screaming inside. You are screaming out loud as well as you embrace the fury. Your brother trying to put up a fight and occasionally getting frustrated with you and punching you back hard. You have both beaten each other to a standstill. You're both barely holding on. When this voice, in a moment of weakness, speaks to you while she's speaking, almost as you're losing consciousness, as your brother's pretty much unwillingly beating you to death. And the voice of the Bone Devil speaks to you from the darkness. He's going to kill you.
I understand it.
It speaks to you in a halting common, yeah. Or at least in your head.
Right, yeah, that's what I figured.
Do you want to die? Or do you want to kill?
I cannot. I cannot. No hug. Cannot kill my brother. Leave me alone.
It is not me. It is she.
that pushes you thus? Do you want the power to defeat her will?
To stop her?
Yes. I can give that. If you wish. It is the only way.
So hard because, like,
it is the only way you will defeat.
I don't know how to like say the thing in my head and have it still make sense.
Just give it a try. You are being offered the power to possibly break the succubus's spell.
It's your only chance.
At which point, you unwillingly land this punch on your brother and he falls to the ground before you. One of the Cambians flicks an axe, a hand axe, a familiar-looking hand axe over to you. And he mutters, he's actually the teenager one, he's like, I'm not without mercy. You can end him quickly if you wish. The succubus leans and says, oh, but I was having fun. Go on, show me that brotherly love can beat all odds. And then simultaneously she motions you. Next thing you know, you kind of black out for a second. You got this hand axe in your hand. It's raised.
Last chance.
If it will save my brother.
I didn't say that.
What happens? What happens, Todd?
The axe descends, and it's almost like you're pushing through solid object, just willing your muscles not to do this. It trembles as you lower it down, and at the very last second, you say, yes, if it saves my brother. And your grip falters on the axe, and it slips out of your hand, and your fist comes down, smacking him, the axe blade skittering off to the side. Your brother looks up at you, on the edge of consciousness. He is alive. Your deal is struck. And the succubus and everyone else is standing around you looking at she says, go on, pick it up. I said go on. And she takes a close look at you.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot.
And she's smiling.
I turn and I look directly at her, right? Just like.
And she smiles and says, bravo, brotherly love. Although, perhaps a scent of something else. Well, good for you. Good for you. An excellent show. Now, sleep. Your body crumples to the ground. And as you fall asleep, you hear footsteps click, click, click. Her high heels right next to you as your eyes close. You see her reach down, scoop up an axe, and look down at your brother, and you black out. You're back standing on the porch, soaking wet, unless you want to do something else.
I think depending on how long they were in the farmhouse.
Mm-hmm. Johannes assumes you're on a watch. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, we did the thing.
Sure.
I'm gonna go back to. I have stuff to do.
Sure. You start carrying your brother's body back home. And in the rain, you get about 100 yards from the farmhouse when you hear it. You've had enough voices in your head. But here's another one. Just find my notes. One sec.
Meow, meow, I'm a cat.
That's the voice
Here it is.
Okay.
1 second.
You're having too much fun. That's good.
Citizens, subjects of Nos Hamlet and the surrounds, I speak to you on the authority of the living gods themselves. We are your protectorate. We save you from the darkness that some of you foolishly embrace. Now is your chance to help those who help you.
By the way, everyone in the area hears this simultaneously as it comes into range, which I think is like 120 feet. And it's been repeating. It's like right in. Yeah, it's definitely
like
telepathic. No.
Speakers on an alien spaceship, which is what it sounds like.
Oh, sorry, it's Dark Angel. But anyway.
Just like, oh man, a mothership just came in. This game just changed.
It's all good. It's all good.
I mean,
so
that's
as no, well, sort of. Anyway, so the voice continues as everyone around hears simultaneously.
We seek a golden-eyed man-boy. He must surrender, or the protections offered to this region by the Eye of Pelor will be withdrawn. We are the only thing that stands between you and certain destruction. If you can hear me, Golden Eyes, surrender to the garrison, or we cannot be held responsible for what darkness might befall this town. Any who turn in this Golden Eyes, or any of those who travel with him, you will be rewarded greatly. We are merciful, but any caught sheltering him or his companions will be punished most severely. You have one day to decide the fate of your loved ones.
And then the voice passes out of range and repeats. That flickering light amongst the dark, roiling clouds moving past, you definitely get the idea that that was the source.
I think we definitely see the moment where Kragg stops, right? First hears this, and you can't help but, like, freeze up when something like that happens. But after a beat, I think he, like, just, like, you know, straights his shoulders and continues on. And so, like, it's playing while he's walking there, like, for however long it was that you just talked.
I told you I get my monologue in today.
And we're seeing him thinking about, like, what does this mean for him? What is that like? Yes, that's probably who they're talking about. I think I can put that together.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's focused. He's got his own stuff to take care of.
So Kragg marches back to his home, carrying the body of his dead brother. Thoughts whirling almost as fiercely as the storm. Johannes and the others heard this, breaking up their little reunion. And the rest of you, back at your camp, cuddled safely in amongst the rest of the brigands. And I think that is going to be where we're going to end for tonight.
Ooh.
It doesn't cross over top of them?
It does not.
Okay, I wasn't sure what the implication was. Great.
No, it's not that kind of range. It was a localized...
yeah, but I wasn't sure if its path went over them.
No, at least not yet. Not yet.
Johannes can report that back.
Can I actually spend a plot point?
Sure.
As I go to sleep?
Sure.
So
you want to hook up with Hoot, don't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. As I lie down in the tent that I acquired,
of course,
from the cult fanatic, so now I have my own tent. And you know, I rest and go to sleep. I just have these dreams of the storm chasing me and lights flickering within the clouds above and the roar. And my mind wanders across the terrain, and I come across. My mind flickers back to that time when we saw a boat fold out, and again I see the face looking back at me.
The knowing face of the person who has a common cult connection to you. You also hear the voice of your mother and your father whispering in the darkness, but you have trouble making out what they say, and then you hear just little snippets, little pieces of that voice of that had spoken over the town. You actually do get little snippets, like almost a sixth sense that something is going on. And you also get a flashback. You're kind of picturing that boat folding out and the gate, and you remember all of a sudden you're sitting in a forest, in a thicket. Your family's nearby, and your father's sitting there whittling, and he's making a tiny little archway, which is a symbol that he often carved. And he actually he often talked about doors. You're too little. You were only like 5 at the time, but he was like, "You're too little now. Remember this." And he holds it up. I can see this. You can see this. Anyone can see this. But not everyone can see all things. Not all doors are visible to everyone. My son, you're special. If you see this, I need you to tell me. Can you promise Daddy that?
I promise.
Good boy. Now go get me another stick. I'll make you one. All right. And I think... Oh, Benkuhm, you have some bad dreams, but you don't suffer exhaustion, just so you know.
Yeah, dumb.
The chain is held at bay. You wake up every morning and it's busy, like, scratching at your neck, and you're like, cute.
Can I try to look for, not for long, but for a little while, for our missing...
Zian? Sure.
Zian?
Sure. How far afield do you want to look?
Not hugely far.
So like an hour out of camp kind of thing? Just kind of do a perimeter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing
There's a couple of farm fields not too far from here that if you were going to go gambling, you would maybe think he might have gone there. So you kind of do a circuit past those for a little while. They're within about an hour, pushing an hour and a half. But you're used to traveling the woods, so it doesn't take you very long. He's not there. The farmhands indicate they haven't seen him. As you're going back into town and the rain is still going, but not a storm at this point, you avoid any of the worst of that. And you do see a shadow in the darkness kind of hiking back, moving from south to north. You pick up the footprints. Do a survival check for me. With advantage. It's your terrain. Good thing for advantage. These do match the footprints that, I mean, everyone has custom-made boots. They ain't no Nikes. So you recognize, you've seen these footprints before, probably. It's by a certain boot. It's about the same size, build, and gait as Zian. You see somebody kind of stumbling in the dark. It's past dark at this point. Stumbling in the dark towards camp. A little bit, probably a bit drunk by the way they're walking, kind of leaning on trees. Oh, where's that bloody thing? You can pick out his voice.
Yeah, I'll go.
He hasn't seen you yet.
I'll sneak up behind him.
Okay. Do a stealth check. Oh, yeah. 17. He does not notice that you're there. And you get right up behind him. As he's muttering to himself, you can smell the whiskey on his breath. And you can see that he's carrying a sack, like a bag over his shoulder with some stuff in it.
I'll come up, I'll take out a dagger from my belt, and I'll come up, and I'll just grab him behind, and I'll cover his eyes and kind of disguise my voice and say in his ear, "Didn't anybody ever tell you not to go off alone?"
He's like, "Oh God, it's fine, take it. It's hard won, but you can take it." And he drops his bag off to the ground and says, "It's not worth my life. It's a lot, though, but it's not worth my life." You hear the coins when it hits the ground. It's...
Runs off, I'll laugh. Out loud.
Sure, the bag is still... sorry, did you say you let him run off, or...
Yeah, I'm assuming...
Yeah, he doesn't stick around as soon as he drops his bag. You open the bag, and inside, as you pick it up, this thing is jingling. Like, jangling. Lots of coins. Like, a lot. Like, Zian must have had a hell of a run of good luck. He's never been that lucky. Like, this is heavy with gold or silver. You pop it open, and you look in, and you see a bunch of gold and silver, and you also see a piece of paper.
I take it out.
Sure. It's getting soaked by the rain, but you flick... you're having trouble seeing in the dark, but you can...
No, she's not.
Well, I mean...
I'm not.
Oh, that's right, dark vision.
I have...
Oh, Gloomstalker. Damn, you can read just fine. So you look at this thing, and it's a wanted poster. It's been torn off of a post or something, and it is a wanted poster of Golden Eyes.
That's not winnings.
I'll try to run up and catch dumbass.
Yeah.
He's making good time.
You'll
be able to catch him before camp, though, if you want. Sorry, what'd you say?
I'm gonna pace with him so he's not vulnerable out here by himself, stupidly drunk. Because if I could do that, anybody can.
Fair enough.
So
all right.
I'll try to protect him on the way back, and then when I get back, I'll throw him his purse and be like, you really shouldn't go traveling by yourself in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Also, Sarah was looking for you.
Sure thing. He's like, oh, you scared the shit out of me. I thought... Thank you. And he picks up the bag and kind of hefts it. Slings it. And I think that is where we're going to call it for tonight. We'll deal with the fallout of that later. Thanks very much for playing, everybody. That was fun. I don't think we did any combat, did we? Not a stitch. Sorry. You know what it is? It's Benkuhm's bad luck. It's Trent's bad luck. We did like huge combat last week. I had it all set. There was a bunch of stuff, but y'all wisely did different things.
Yeah.
So we will see where this goes next time. Sorry, Trent. I know you really were eager to like punch and smash stuff, but you did get to do a magic trick and discover that you're a wizard.
Yes. It's okay just watching things unfold.
All right. Well, thanks very much, and I guess that's it for tonight. Anybody watching this on replay, thanks so much, and listening to this on podcast, thanks so much. Don't forget to tune in live if you get the chance. Tuesdays at 9:30ish is usually when we go up, and check out our stuff on YouTube. All our episodes are up there except the very, very first one, which we did not record at all. And thanks so much for playing, guys. I hope you had a good time, and we're definitely learning more about everybody. Anybody want to say anything before we sign off?
Oh, it's a great time, guys.
I have to say, you gave back that money after he sold out Fenris? Really? Okay, sure. Fenris deserves that money.
She may not be done with that yet.
I didn't take that as him selling out Fenris.
I mean, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong.
Taking it back to show us.
Could be.
There yet.
He just got real lucky. You're right. He just got real lucky at gambling.
Well,
that wasn't reward money.
We'll cross that bridge.
Couldn't possibly.
We'll cross that bridge.
We will cross that bridge when we come to it, although we'll plant a seed and see what happens. Oh yeah, don't forget about our giveaway. If you're watching this after the fact, hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to name Darmita's mom, because that we've been dancing around for a little while, but so far so good. And
name the old man.
Oh yeah, you can give a name to the old man, the old hidden Deva, broken, crazy old Deva who's busy eating soup stones.
Don't let us know what it is. Just let Todd know.
Yeah, you can message it on Instagram and Twitter. Sorry, you were saying something, Bella. It cut out.
I want to stop calling him old man. That's
true. Super fair.
Rude.
He doesn't remember his name.
Yeah.
His name's Abe. We're calling him Abe for now on.
Sure, we could do that.
Hey, Abe.
You had an extra plot point left. Thanks very much for playing, guys.
Okay.
Anytime.
All right, well, we are going to sign off and take care of yourselves, take care of each other, to the players, to the viewers and the listeners. Stay safe, stay home if at all possible, and be safe, and just stay sane. Take care of your health and your mind and your soul. Play some Dungeons and Dragons, and if you can't play with us. Like, jump in here and do some live suggestions, and this has been a real blessing. So thanks so much to you guys for helping that, and thanks for.
Yeah, it's great seeing you guys in chat.
Yeah, absolutely, and.
I don't know how you see them. I can't see shit.
Well. You open up the Twitch stream, you pop out the chat, then you close the Twitch stream so that it doesn't eat your bandwidth.
Yeah, you can make it audio only or something, or as chat only. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Gemini. I was not watching chat. Damn it. All right, we got to honor this.
I just looked right at the end.
Damn, I'm so sorry. We've got Rumplefugs and Gemini Twin, I am so sorry, guys. I don't have timestamps on. I don't know how long you were in here. I was watching, my own world. Perception fail. Here, let's just read them out loud. Rumpelfug said, hope you're all doing well and have a great game. Gemini Twin. Another rumor that they might find out, I like this, in town, is that some of the more unwanted or unruly prisoners are sent to part of the prison that holds the ghosts, and that some don't come back. Hey, that's right in line with canon. Thanks so much, Gemini. I'm really getting a Stargate Gulag vibe from that voice. Oh, yeah, definitely. Darcy felt you on that one.
Do you off the top of your head know what episode it is if they wanted to jump back to the YouTube archives? When we did actually, because I don't
it was
know
one
if
of
we
the
can
earlier
talk
ones.
about
I think
this,
it was.
But like the funniest thing about this, as like since player knowledge and character knowledge are like.
Yes, thanks for keeping those safe.
It's so funny playing this out, going like, we all know he's not there.
Dramatic irony,
As
right?
players, we know he's not there anymore. We already busted him out.
Yep.
But you can watch that episode on the YouTube archive.
Yeah, I had a lot going through my head there, Gemini. Some other stuff Gemini was saying, there may be even a noble that was very bad at gambling looking for that bag of gold. There could be, if that's the actual way that he got it.
Yeah, they said that right after.
We will see.
Like...
And also, you take care of yourself too, Gemini, and jump in anytime. Next time, I promise, I'll keep the chat window on the surface. Sorry, I have so many layers going on here. I really got to do that. I turned off the speak and spell version of the chat, which we used to have going that would let us know when you chatted us, so I should dig that up again. It was one less thing for my poor old computer to run now that I'm running Roll20 and everything else. But I had to
Robot
nix
voice
that.
works way better for Shadowrun too, aesthetically.
All right, so we will be back hopefully next week if all the scheduling works. And thanks very much for joining us, everybody, and welcome to our game. All
right.
Oh, any suggestions for title for the game, either from the players or from the viewers?
A storm is coming.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
That's probably best. That's much better than a whole lot of nothing.
I prefer.
What do you prefer?
Magic show in the mess hall.
The most important thing that happened this session.
Gemini, do you want to weigh in on this one, or any of our viewers? So I'm gonna jot down a couple of these before I forget them. So a storm is
I want
coming.
to do something that's like a play on flashbacks, flashbacks and thunder strikes. I don't know.
Flash in the darkness.
First flash of magic.
Like the storm is coming, because that is apropos.
The storm is coming is really good. Yeah.
Fenris is the storm.
Okay.
Metaphorically. I'm cooking up a plan for the next move, guys. Cooking up a little plan.
I'm not the brains of this at all.
So on the stream, I'm putting it down so far as episode. Oh, this is episode 13. Sorry, old map. Episode 13. A storm is coming, aka Benkuhm is a wizard. All right.
Don't forget the Benkuhm is a wizard, Harry.
Oh, hey, and Gemini spent some redeeming points that we have in chat. So second, a storm is coming. So that is going to be it. But we'll do like the little subtitle for Benkuhm is a wizard. All right, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves and roll some dice, have some fun, and take care. All right, night, everybody.
You've been listening to
Night,
SideQuests
guys.
Live.
Was
Thanks
fun.
so much for
Thanks,
tuning in.
Todd.
We
Hey, my
try to
pleasure.
record all of our games as much as possible, whether that's Dungeons & Dragons or Shadowrun or another tabletop role-playing game. Just a quick side note about all the licenses and copyrights involved. Our music is all Creative Commons attribution music on our live stream video feed or YouTube replay or Twitch VOD. We always attribute each individual artist, so be sure to check out those individual artist attributions. Lots of love to so many people who make their work available so that we can do what we do. So thank you. It influences our game. It makes it immeasurably better. So much appreciation for them. Let's not forget the makers of the games. Dungeons & Dragons is copywritten by Wizards of the Coast. They own it. They make it available to all of us to play, and it's wonderful. We are in no way affiliated with them, and nor do they endorse this podcast, but we are very appreciative. The other game we often play is Shadowrun, which is Catalyst Games. And again, we are not affiliated with them and they do not endorse us, but we really appreciate their game and we hope you appreciate our game. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitch and YouTube and watch for those live games once we're streaming them out. And of course, we do accept suggestions for names, so please hit us up on Instagram and name our stuff. All right, thanks so much. I'm Todd, and this has been SideQuests Live. We'll see you again soon.